This is how we begin, okay? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever it is that you may be. I'm here with my wonderful, well-respected friend, my special guest sidekick.
Yeah.
This podcast will be about announcing some things that many people are unaware of before. Wait a minute, I'm a side kiss?
Wait a minute, what?
I'm not even a side bitch, I'm a side kiss? Walk up and kiss me on the cheek and be like, later. Well, that went down in flames. Okay,
I was loving it too until that moment. Then I loved it more because of how I broke down. I broke down.
Oh, all right. Oh.
Should leave that at the end of it.
It's very Die Another Day when they're like falling. I don't know if have you seen James Bond Die Another Day?
Yeah.
When him and Halle Berry they're falling to their what they think is their death.
Right.
And then they're like, well, at least we're gonna die rich because there's like a car full of diamonds or something. Like a lot of jokes like that.
Right.
And that's my thing. That's always been my thing with the Marvel films. Is like people will look. One of these days, somebody who's actually got like Zack Snyder, not Zack Snyder. Everybody hates Zack Snyder. J.J. Abrams will come out and say, we gave these comic book films a lot of credit just because we love them because there was a lot in them. Any other movie would get panned, like Die Another Day got panned, right? And then those kind of jokes though are in a Marvel film, and everybody's cool with it because it's a Marvel film. We're seeing our heroes come to life and blah 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 blah, right? Okay, mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. Go ahead, mic check yourself. Mic
Yo,
check.
what's up, going on? What's happening? Let's do this thing. Let's get it cooking and popping and stuff.
Say it again. Say it again.
Get it cooking and popping and stuff like that.
I was just checking the levels, and I was like, mic check, mic check. All right, your turn to mic check. And it just died. I was like,
yeah, I told you.
Is it recording you? Or?
I'm not a loud person by nature. I think I'm loud, and it's like,
yeah.
What is that? And I'm like, oh. You can't hear a damn thing I just said.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, yeah. That's, don't worry about it. just be you. I'm just saying. I was like,
I'm gonna have to make. This
I
so
never looked at your
you
levels. Yeah, I know. I never looked at your levels when we were recording before, and I was like, I was really worried. Is it recording him? And the left side of the mic dead?
Or do I not really exist? And I'm a figment of your imagination. Yeah. I'm not really here. You're imagining this.
You're imagining the Scrapsta. I'm in your mind, man. I'm in your mind. Okay, so, you can I'll kind of follow your lead on Civil War. Also, was there anything else that you want to talk about? I feel really, really bad because I know I turned that Batman vs. Superman into this really, really long one, so I feel bad that, I know I cheated you out of your talking about your merchandise and stuff, so if you wanted to, I really want to do that, ASAP, because I felt like I cheated you out of it.
Yeah, we can bring that up.
Okay. Well, I know you wanted to have a list.
My list has grown since I made it, so that's why I'm kind of like, oh,
okay. Here's
I think I might need to recalculate what I bought.
Let's preface. Let's not go into it hardcore because we'll literally spend an entire Saturday sometime if you want to do it. Because not only do I want to do it, I also feel bad that the first couple times we were going to focus on it, then I just cheated you out of it because we got rambling and then it just became such. I know you wanted to have your list and stuff, but how about this? Talk about it from the perspective how you just went to the new comic book store. That's what we'll do. Talk about that, and I will no names, but I'll talk about my poor experience and why this is I will talk about comic book store politics and like that, right? We'll just crack on about that, okay? But you could start. We'll start to talk. We'll start to kind of lay the foundation for your collection of stuff, right? Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we'll jump from there. How to Civil War. When we just run out of gas in 2 minutes. No.
It's gonna be a short recording.
Okay. I left my Dr. Pepper inside. It's melting.
I know. I was brought this water that last week and started oh no, I'm gonna be gone soon.
I know. We could be honest though. We're got butt heads a little bit here though.
That I think is why I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I took my little Infinity Gauntlet hand and I put all the Green Lantern rings on it, and I just crushed the arc reactor right out of your chest and just walked away. because like that's how bad I am, and like
Yeah, I don't think that happened.
Oh no, that's right. Something really lame like that happened in this movie. Let's get into it though. Civil War. We both come off of just seeing Civil War. I saw it, I think, about a day before you did.
Yeah.
And I texted you right out of it, and there was, I think, a little bit of apprehension in my text, and then you came out of it last night, and you had a much different reaction. How about go with your reaction first?
All right. Well, I kind of think I should go yours just because yours sets into mine of like you gave an opinion of what I thought I was gonna.
Okay.
How you thought I was gonna think about it.
Okay.
And there was a specific thing on there that I wanted to ask about. So I think let's go ahead and start with you, and then I'll bring up my question. Before I jump into
I got a lot of ways to review Civil War.
Okay.
Let's just do the single word review first. Painful.
Right. Painful.
Awful.
Okay.
Torture.
Wow. Okay. Right on.
Tedious.
Ooh.
Tedious. Boring. Abominable. Don't you know the Daily Planet hasn't made money in 3 years? No, so I mean seriously, like, yeah. I went into this film, I gotta admit, a little worried. There's a very popular screenwriter, and he caused a lot of crap because he's one of the only guys that, like, he'll go on social media and he'll outright say how much he disliked Star Wars The Force Awakens, right?
Right.
He got a lot of crap for it. And I respect his opinion. My opinion is a little bit closer to his than everybody else's on The Force Awakens. So I saw him say that, man, Civil War, it's fun, it's clever and funny. I just don't think I'd ever watch it ever again, right? And I thought to myself, see that right there, kind of, in that little, social media post right there, that kind of to me defined what are all my major problems with the Marvel films. And it's just like, yeah, they try too hard to be too clever, too slick, too funny, and it just becomes tedious. This movie, above all else, maybe it's because it's supposed to be their final. This is the end of the era of Marvel, and now they're moving into a new era, right? Like they're going into a new phase, and all these new movies are coming. Honestly, man, I'm telling you, the trailer for Doctor Strange was 100 times better than the actual movie for Civil War, because it was just all a repeat of all the same beats all over again. And so I remember texting you, I was like, I thought you were gonna hate it because it revisits all those same the same tropes all over again, right? Black Widow, she can take down 50 guys, right? We've seen this 100 times before. She does the same move. It's like a WWF thing, right? Like, have you ever heard Jim Cornette? Have you ever heard him shoot off and just make fun of like Diesel from back in the day, right? And he's just like, he had a 5 move set. I could get any. But he's like, matter of fact, I did go. I found a guy at an In Your House event that wasn't recorded. I found a guy that just looked like Kevin Nash. I taught him the 5 moves that Kevin Nash does, and there you go. That's how I feel about a lot of the Marvel movies. The action is just so predictable. That opening scene, really, that opening. I don't know. It just felt like it went on forever. But I don't know if it's opening 10 minutes, opening 15 minutes, the opening battle there, and they're in Wakanda, right? Or they're off of Wakandans.
They're in Nigeria.
Yeah, they're in Nigeria. Oh, that's right, they are, because you know how we know? Because they put it on the screen again. Those letters across the screen, right?
It's funny because while I was watching it, I was thinking, wow, he's gonna hate this.
Just like punching you in the face, man.
I remember you bringing it up when we were doing the Batman vs Superman when you were talking about how you're not a big fan of those. And not only did these guys use those, it took up the whole screen when they did. The whole screen is covered with where they're at. It's like
covers the whole screen.
Giant.
1991.
1991.
Yeah.
Nigeria.
Switzerland.
New York.
Logos.
Queens.
Yeah, this is the thing that got me though. It's like they went like where I hate it, man. Where it just takes me out of the movie, man. It's like they're like Avengers headquarters, Tony Stark's bedroom, the closet of Tony Stark's bedroom. Across the screen, like Jesus, enough already. Stop it. Yeah, we don't need to know where everything's at, right? Anyways, it's New York. You can see New York, Queens, right? Anyways, whatever. But so yeah, all those really negative tropes that I just don't particularly like about movies in general and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They just kicked me and just punched me. It was like have you ever seen you ride a bicycle? It's like a trick bicycle, and they have like it's a boxing glove that's on a fist. And every time every time you move the wheels forward, it'll just punch you in the face. It's one of those like gag things, right? They do it on a lot of gag TV shows. That's how I felt watching Civil War. Just punch. Just damn it, man! All the same stuff all over again. So yeah, I came out of it, and I texted you. I was like, I thought there was a strong possibility that you were going to hate a lot of the film, except for a couple of scenes that are actually done really, really well. So ultimately, the closest comparison I can make, and I'm not comparing it directly to The Dark Knight Rises. I don't think it's anywhere near as good as The Dark Knight Rises, even though The Dark Knight Rises is not great. But that's what I compare it to, where it's just like so much of it is just off the wall and confusing and baffling. Then they get into a couple of scenes where they're really, really going for something great, and then it really sets in, like the introduction of Spider-Man, Aunt May, man, that's it right there. I just would have watched the entire movie, just him talking to Aunt May, right? Old Marissa Tomei's young self. But, like, that's just like, to me, that's a great scene. Or like when he tells the ending, right? When they get done, he's yelling at Captain America, right? Like, that was a good sequence, good shot, right? So it reminded me of The Dark Knight Rises, where it's like a lot of the movie was baffling. Then they get to a really, really good part that references, the rest of what they've established. So other than that, though, man, it was just like a slog fest for me, unfortunately. I just think, like I said, it was the greatest hits of all the things I don't like, unfortunately.
Right on, okay. Well, so go ahead. All right, so, yeah, okay, so that was one of the questions I had going into it, is you did tell me that, there's a couple of scenes there that really stood out. Which one of those were you talking about that really stood out to you that I would, like, come out of it liking? Because I remember it was just like, I think you'll hate it, save for like a couple of scenes, which will maybe be like, oh, okay, this is great.
Yeah, I told Fanboy KC too. I don't know how he's going to react to the film, but I was telling him, I was like, he said that people have been telling him it's the greatest Marvel movie ever. I said definitely not the greatest Marvel movie ever. Save for a couple of moments, maybe some of the best Marvel moments ever. They just don't last very long. It's real simple, man. 2 words and a dash. Spider-Man.
Okay.
That was my tweet, too. I don't know if you saw that. My tweet was that this Spider-Man... People are not... It's going to take years for people to realize that Spider-Man saved Marvel. And he saved this film, in my opinion. It was just an awful, all-over-the-place mess until he shows up. And then it's just like awesome sauce. Awesomeness. And then he goes away. But even when he goes away, it's kind of funny, like, the way they're like... You're done, man. You're done. He's like, okay, I'm done. Bah! He falls to the ground. Like, his mask is all disheveled, right? Like, I love that. The Empire Strikes Back moment. I don't think anybody can hate that moment.
Oh, you're wrong, my friend.
Oh my goodness,
you're wrong.
We're up. Here we go. Hatred in the house, but the haters have arrived. I thought that was a golden moment. I thought nobody could hate that when he's just like, hey, have you old guys seen that old movie? Empire Strikes Back.
And therein lies the problem.
Okay, all right. Okay, you go ahead.
But first, before I get to the negatives, let's go to the, I guess, positive. I did not hate this movie. I thought it was a decent movie. It was funny because you said... Yeah, you said
you gave it a 12 out of 10, right? No, I'm kidding.
Absolutely not. Jeez, hell no. I gave it like a 7.5. 7.5. And actually, it's higher than that, but because it's easier to go by 5, so it's either 0.5 or a full score. I didn't want to give it an 8. It's not an 8. So I drop it to a 7.5.
See, now you brought up something that... keep going.
And so, I thought, okay, it's fine. It's fun. It's funny because you bring up the writer who you said he thought it was clever, did a lot of fun stuff with it, but he would never watch it again. That is actually almost exactly my opinion of it. I liked it. I thought it was fun. Thought they had a lot of fun things to it, but it's not something that I'm like, I gotta go watch it again. And so what I do find kind of interesting, and we'll see in the future, comes as when I get it on DVD, will I have the same opinion when I watch it again? Because I enjoyed Age of Ultron when it first came out. I watched it on DVD, and I was just like, God, no, this is... So, we'll see.
Yeah, see, I mean, that's this interesting thing. I don't know if us comic book fans have really figured this out yet. Because it's like, if you say you like a movie but never want to watch it ever again, right? Did you really like it? It's that weird... We're in this weird world.
I mean, it's not... Sure, I mean, prices, man. Tickets.
I get that, for sure. And honestly, I would recommend... If you're not like every Marvel film is the next greatest film that's ever been, right? And they're all 9 and 10 out of 10, right? Then I would say, yeah, sure, go see it.
Right.
But if you're not in that group of people, I wouldn't recommend even going to see it in the theater. I would recommend just waiting until it comes on Netflix. I mean, that's just, like I said, how disappointed I was by it, in a lot of ways. But I mean, Well, going back to the question though, can you think of another film that you thought to yourself, I liked it, but I'll never watch it again?
Deadpool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
boom, right off the bat.
All right. Then.
It's not a hard one for me. I like Deadpool, but no.
Okay. Well, and
I didn't watch it again. I have it on Blu-ray because I liked it, but I have not watched it yet.
Well, I was thinking more out of the comic book genre.
Oh, okay.
But you go. I'm sure you angered a lot of people with that one. We lost about half the audience with that one.
I apologize to you for losing your audience, but I don't care that you left.
It's okay. Mama still listens. It's all good. So she didn't have a choice. Put earbuds on her.
Put it on. Listen to this.
Yeah, you're gonna sit in the corner and listen. Close the closet door. No, I'm kidding. So anyway.
Yeah, no. That's a weird one for me because honestly, outside of the comic book realm, a lot of the movies I watch are usually one and done. So even if I like it, it's just like one and then that's it. It's like, oh, yeah, this is good. This is a real good movie. Yeah, I really would want to watch it. Oh wait, does it count if I would want to watch it but haven't watched it? Or are we talking about actually, or is it more just the desire?
Okay, give me your example for that one, for the closest example.
God, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I know there's been movies where I thought this is really
kind
good.
Of thing for me,
like, Creed was a movie that I wanted to see again. I really enjoyed it. Only saw it the one time. Really enjoyed it. Wanted to see it again, but I haven't seen it again.
Okay. Because is it available now yet?
Yeah, I actually have it, but I haven't had the time to watch it.
Okay.
But that was a movie. It's not.
Yeah, but see, like I get that. You can put that in a category where it's like I want to see it, just haven't gotten around. I mean, I'm busy and stuff like that, right? But I mean, I cannot think of another movie where I thought that movie's good. I'm not going to watch it again. So not likely to ever watch it again.
You're really meaning just the desire, then?
Yeah,
yeah. I can't think of too many where I say outside of comic books. I can't think of too many where it's like I liked it and I don't want to watch it again though.
Yeah, and so the point I was trying to get to is I can think of 5 right off the bat. All Marvel movies in the MCU. Wait, hold on. And that's my problem. Like, I have. This is something new to me. This is what I mean. This is new to me. It really is. In the last 5 years, I have no reference for this outside of the MCU. You know, like the Avengers. I saw the Avengers. I'm gonna leave that one alone. But again, I truly have. If it is playing in an airport, in the screen above me, and I'm sitting down, I'd rather read a book. I'll find a book or something. I'm not going to watch it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could be at a bar, and if it's right in front of me, it's the only reason I watch it is because it happens to be in front of me as I'm drinking, right? Like, I just have no desire to ever watch the first Avengers ever again. And like I said, I can't think of any references outside of the MCU like that. And it goes back to, like you said, it goes back to what our screenwriter guy here said. Just like, it just seems to me that they're trying too hard, in my opinion. You know, and that's why I thought the Spider-Man scenes works because his character, I think they stopped trying too hard and more came naturally. They still tried too hard with Ant-Man. What did he say? I need lemon juice or I need lemon slices or something.
Orange slices.
Is that a reference that I missed or something? Or
if it is, I missed it because I heard that. I'm thinking, what?
Have you seen Ant-Man?
I saw Ant-Man, yeah.
So, okay, yeah.
I don't recall there being any orange deals in there. I mean, I'm sure there were, but I was just like, I don't get that. That was weird. But before I forget, back to that Empire line.
Yeah. I thought this was unequivocally the best line. You hated it, apparently. Okay.
Yeah, no. I didn't like it because I thought it was unnecessary. It was... I don't know. I just hated it because, he just comes in, flies like, hey, have you guys seen that old Star Wars movie? Based on the character. He's a geek. Mm-hmm. He would not reference it as the old Star Wars movie. He would treat it like it's, Empire Strikes Back.
I think he said that old movie, too.
That old movie. That old movie, Empire Strikes Back. And I thought two things. Either they totally missed that. I think he would be plugging that movie, not like, that old movie, just, straight up like that classic movie, Empire. Have you seen Empire Strikes Back?
You're splitting hairs a little bit where you would preferred him to say,
yeah, well,
hey, you're seen Empire Strikes Back,
because
right?
Here's the other reason why. It's because it's either that where they, like, missed out on a character thing. It's like, if he was a geek, he wouldn't treat it that way. He wouldn't be like, that old movie, Empire Strikes Back. He would have treated it more grand or whatever. He wouldn't have, like, done it the way he did it. The other part was... The other reason I would see them doing
because they're aping that scene exactly. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even realize it. Yeah, that whole segment was probably lost on.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know when I realized that was going by. I was just like, I don't know. I realized,
we were actually conversating.
Yeah.
We were I actually can't believe you didn't like it. I really thought that was the one thing that was like.
And so the other reason I thought maybe they did that was because they owned Star Wars, so they didn't want to throw too much like, hey, we own everything, and so maybe they like try to play it down. In which case, for me, it was like, then don't bring it up. Either play it up just straight up like Empire Strikes Back, hey, because they did that scene exactly. Scene wise, I liked it. Line wise, I didn't like it. And,
for the spoilers. So, anyways, sorry. Yeah, it's Ant-Man becomes Giant Man. The most ridiculous thing you will ever see in any movie ever outside of Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, because it's the same. But anyways, yeah, Ant-Man, he becomes Giant Man where he's like 55 feet tall, right?
Right.
And he's just wrecking people. I love Black Panther rolls up to him and through his body language, he looks up and kind of communicates this like. There's no like it actually brought up like there's no, what do I, you're not trained for this, right?
Right.
And then he gets kicked away, which is pretty funny, but and it's just like, but yeah, so Spider-Man starts swinging, or nobody can stop Ant-Man or Giant Man or whatever you want to call him at this moment. Even Tony Stark cracks like, is there anybody on my team who's got some kind of the extra power? Yeah, that would be the time. Which is so that stuff hit, and that's why I like that scene, because Spider-Man starts swinging around with his web around Giant Man's legs, and that's when he says, hey, have you guys seen that old movie Empire Strikes Back? And then you should realize by then that he's wrapping his web around Giant Man's legs so he can bring him down like Luke Skywalker brought down the AT Walker in the snow of the planet Hoth in Empire.
I don't know if I should nitpick on the fact that you just called it an AT and missed the other two ATs.
It's an AT-AT in that one?
Yeah.
So the AT-AT are the big ones. I'd rather talk about this, though. No. So the AT-AT, those are the big ones in the snow, and the AT Walkers are the ones on with the Wookiee, or not with the Wookiees, with the what are they called? The
Ewoks.
The Ewoks, right? The little bat to defeat the Empire. Is that what it is? And the AT Walkers are the ones.
The little adorable warriors.
Yeah, because what's the other one too? I've heard everybody say AT. There's AT-AT, and then there's like, what is it? The AT-ATs? That's something else then, right? That sounds like it has a D in it. Right?
No, the AT-AT.
Or is it at? That's what they're saying.
It's like, it's at.
The at-ats, but everybody sounds, they pronounce it.
That's the ones they're talking about.
That's the AT-ATs.
Yeah.
The at-ats. That's what they're saying, like you're double twittering somebody.
Right. That's what it is. It's yeah.
So the AT Walker, and then those are the ones in the jungle on...
I think those are called something else, but I can't remember.
So what's an AT Walker, then?
Same thing. AT Walker is the same thing. For those of you who
wait, did you just get technical on me? Like, I'm sorry, AT Walker, they're actually called...
I did, because you were making reference like they were two separate things, so I was like, I had to look it up, like, wait, are they separate things?
This guy. Really?
I was questioning my own knowledge of it, that's why I was like, maybe I'm wrong.
I'm like, well, what's the third one? No, that's the same. Or he just got technical on me. Sorry, I believe the AT Walker is properly referred to as the AT-AT, pronounced at.
If you're not going to say it right, don't say it, you know? But overall, I liked the...
This conversation, though, overall better than any of the dialogue in Civil War. So anyways.
So, overall, I liked the idea of it. I just didn't like the execution. I thought maybe they missed out on what a character would think. If he was really a geeky guy, he wouldn't be like, that old
what
movie.
You're saying, though, is the quip that he makes about that.
Yeah, I didn't like
Could have better fit the Spider-Man character to help explain him a little bit, help flesh him out a little bit.
Right.
Better. Make him more the character that you recognize.
Right.
Yeah.
And I also get the fact that they want to treat it like, because it's old, he's young, they're older or whatever.
Yeah, because War Machine's just like, Tony, how old is this kid?
Yeah. But I just thought
he's on the younger side.
I just thought if he's like if he's a geek, he wouldn't be like that old movie. He would just be like, it's The Empire Strikes Back.
You'd have been awesome if he's like, you ever see that movie when they take down the AT Walker? I'm sorry, I believe it's at that and they all stop and get on their phones. I'm giving you, but it would have made the scene better. It would have made the scene better.
ATST for your knowledge. And
ATST is what's on the Ewoks planet. That's what they crush with the two logs.
On Endor, yeah.
Yeah, that's the worst weapon the Empire ever built, because it was crushed by two tree freaking...
Oh, it was the worst because it was a giant box on two legs.
Two trees crush it, and then it gets hijacked by Ewoks. and eventually Chewbacca. Which I understand Chewbacca, but yeah.
Hey,
anyways.
Ewoks can crawl anywhere. Didn't you watch the movie, man? Didn't you see Ant-Man taking out people because he was able to come up unsurprised? Same thing with Ewoks. Same thing. All right.
I believe Ant-Man by himself would have been a better ally in Return of the Jedi. It's just my little thing, you know.
But
I've heard they've gone back and they try to make the Ewoks look better, so I went and looked it up. It don't work. I don't care if their nostrils flare, if their eyes blink.
No,
nothing.
First of all, those changes were done in the Lucas era, which he was making unnecessary changes, such as ruining that movie by having. How
dare you, sir? Well, George Lucas is.
I don't
George
care.
Lucas, supreme leader Lucas. He can do whatever he wants.
Whatever.
I'm in that.
He can't do whatever if he changes the whole meaning of the story.
Exactly. I'm in that category where he's like, you know what? He wants to come back and make the Empire win. Tough.
But I thought the movie was fun. The goofiest part is I think a lot of our opinions on this movie have clashes a lot of the way. You thought, horror, it sounds like horrible, tedious, all that to you. For me, it's like, yeah, fun, this and that. I mean, by no means was this a great movie. Don't get me mistaken. I thought it was okay. It was an okay movie for me. But I definitely didn't hate it. Spider-Man, you go on this praise of this guy. I think he's good. I like him better than Maguire. I still think Garfield is better, but I see the potential for this guy to be the best Spider-Man. That's the thing. I definitely see
Neil
it there.
Patrick Harris is a better Spider-Man than Tobey Maguire, so...
Yeah.
Ooh, how you like that? No.
Boom! That's fine.
Now I lost my mom. Nobody's listening. But Doogie Howser?
But, it's a lot of clashes, and I think the biggest one for me is Aunt May.
Aunt May. Yeah, you brought that up to me in the text. You're like, I didn't know. That was like, that to me, it seemed like you were the text message to me seemed like rambling, incoherent babble. I was like, see, you watched Civil War, and that movie's incoherent, rambling, and babbling rubbed off on you. You don't even remember. You don't even know how to text now.
No, it was, I don't know how to text that anger at that. Yeah. And I hated it from day one when I found out she was cast. I was like, no, this is terrible. She's hot. Aunt May is not hot. And then I got a little... Well,
you're right. She hasn't been hot before, although, you know...
She should never be hot.
Listen, I got a little thing for Sally Field, though, so, you know, I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, that's your own thing. Not judging,
Sally
that's
Field,
fine.
Get it. Flying Nun.
Yeah, okay.
Smokey and the Bandit, baby.
That's fine, but, yeah...
Forrest Gump's mother. She's always hot.
Oh, man.
But your mama sure care about you, little Forrest.
Oh, jeez.
That was missing from the Amazing Spider-Man series. I don't know how to do this without Ben. The guy walks by, boy, your auntie sure does love you, Peter Parker.
Oh, man, that would have been bad. That would have been terrible.
Oh, my God, that would have been great. That would have been awesome. See that? There would have been the Amazing Spider-Man, baby.
Oh, no.
No?
No.
Okay.
Okay, but...
Sorry.
I had the hope that, because...
They were going to age her up like Martha Kent.
Like Diane Lane. It's like, Diane Lane's Martha Kent. I don't know about that. She's hot. But then they aged her up. So it's like, okay, cool. I had the hope they would do that here. Then when she first shows up, it's like, oh, yeah. Ew, Aunt May, no. No, she's not supposed to be hot. I kid you not, when we left, there was a good chunk of the drive to take my cousin home of us complaining about the hotness of Aunt May. Just because it's like... That should never be words spoken out of watching Spider-Man on film. It's like, hey, that Aunt May.
Well,
quite hot.
I don't know. Listen, I know a lot of people that think Michael Caine's Jeremy Irons very attractive, and you wouldn't normally think that Alfred should be, a GQ type of guy, but it's changing that direction. I mean, Michael Goff, when he was in the original movie, he was like, Cummings, sorry, sir, I've died, sir. It's like he was pushing, They've been de-aging Alfred as he gets along, right? He'll be Batman's age by the next franchise. I guarantee he'll be fighting side by side. You know what? Alfred is Jason Todd.
Don't joke like that.
Nah, I'm telling you, it'll happen. It really bothered you that much?
It does. Well,
just from day one, and then just seeing it, it's just like, oh my God.
It sounds more negative that way.
Yeah.
It's not because in the end, it's Marissa Tomei.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, pretty much. Just like
it's just the overall. It's like Aunt May's hot.
I went from being bored out of my mind, like, oh my God, get an editor, get this thing over with. what are we doing? And then all of a sudden, I was just a little puppy dog. Marissa Tomei. See, all you young whippersnappers out there, you don't get this. She's 51 years old, and you probably think she's really old. But she don't look 51, let me tell you that.
She's 51?
Yeah, I looked it up earlier.
Man.
So I was Googling her. And I was...
Who doesn't want to Google that?
Yeah, I was Googling her. Anyways, no, but you know what? For a guy like me, 30 years old, you're in my generation, you remember the early years of Marissa Tomei, My Cousin Vinny. Woo! I think it's that movie where they have that line, damn, is good eats, right? Or that's good grits, right? Yeah, that ain't the only good grits in that movie. So, yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah.
So, and just in every way possible.
So for me, it's
Aunt
a more...
Bay.
Yeah, for me, it's a more humorous no and not liking it.
But did you like how they took it on? Like Tony Stark is like, you're unbelievably, unusually attractive aunt. Right?
You have to, because that's the case. It's exactly that. Especially with the character of Aunt May.
Yeah,
it almost fits
your aunt, right?
perfectly with that.
Which is really hard to believe you're an aunt, by the way.
Right.
You know, like, I mean, just like, yeah, listen, I'm going to go talk to your aunt.
It fits perfectly with that. Overall, though, yeah, a lot of the things I think you're liking and dislike, we share. It's just yours are like to the extreme each side. Like Spider-Man, you liked him the best. He's the best Spider-Man. For me, I liked him. He was really good. Not going that extreme. You seem to dislike, extreme dislike for it. Me, I just held the dislike to like, it wasn't a great movie. It was good. It was okay. It wasn't great though. But there's a lot of things that I liked, and I think the key thing, I saw it on a lot of reviews, and I think is obviously Spider-Man. You know, easily the best part of that movie.
Yeah,
was Spider-Man. Everything
that's saying a lot, because Spider-Man to you is easily the best part of the movie, despite the fact you don't think the movie's great, and you're not even that big on the Spider-Man guy yet. You're just more hopeful.
I'm big on him. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's the best. I see the potential for him to be the best.
Yeah.
See, for me, there were parts of it where, as much as I loved watching it, I was like, like some of it, to be honest, it sounded kind of like there were times without watching it again, I can't really point out which ones, but there were times where it seemed like he was trying to sound like Andrew Garfield to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
There were some times where it seemed like he was talking kind of like, oh, okay. And there were the little things that Garfield did that I thought, I feel weird calling him Garfield, reminds me of the cat, but...
So could it be that Garfield just got so close to nailing it that Tom Holland, by trying to be a good Spider-Man, also sounds like
absolutely
Garfield
that could be that too. But just in that sense, like he may have not even tried to sound like him, but just him, like you said, going that way because Garfield was so close, it called me back to Garfield on it. But there are things like the accent that.
Well, it's a little bit like that with Christopher Reeve and Henry Cavill. A lot of people say that they think Henry Cavill's trying to go for that, where I say he's going for Superman, but Reeve is so definitive that it sounds like Reeve.
Right.
You know.
I do want to jump into that briefly. It's kind of off topic.
Superman?
Yeah, it's
Let's
not.
go.
It's
Let's
not
get
even
off
like
the Civil War. The Civil War.
I still wanted to go into one little
Civil
War thing, just like I said on the accent for
Garfield. Look what we're gonna do. Yeah. Back to Aunt Bay for a second.
Oh, jeez. Are we going to look at pictures? Because if so, that's fine.
She's she's just enchanting. She's so enchanting. You're just like, just in a spell, right? Just, hi, Aunt Bay, you want, here, let me bring you something, right? Hard to believe this woman would stay single in that universe. There'd be 100 guys. Maybe Spider-Man is going to beat them up. But
well, who says that she has?
Well, there you go. Well,
maybe that's what the next movie's about.
Wait a minute. Yeah, Homecoming. He walks in on never mind.
Exactly.
Let's not go there. Okay, look. My thing is though, is that like, I don't know how this is going to work out, but just the Spider-Man. But Aunt Bay here, she's a part of it. Okay. It comes down to, imagine if Dr. Octopus, I'll be honest with you, Spider-Man 2 is not my favorite movie. I don't think it's really that good at all, right? Like, just, not a big fan of it. When Dr. Octopus has got, at that time, Aunt May, older, unattractive Aunt May, apparently the way you like it, right?
The way it's meant to be, sir.
When you've got her, and Dr. Octopus is, like, he tries to drop her off a building like twice, right? I never cared. I never gave two craps about it. When she falls, quote unquote falls, and she realizes she's like on a ledge, and she's like, okay, right? I was just like, whatever. I really don't care. So now you get Aunt Bay in that situation. I don't know if that's going to put me and a lot of fans on the edge of our seat, like, oh, don't hurt Mr. Tomei, right? Or I don't know though. It could hurt it because that's going to be the question mark for you. Or is it going to be like Dr. Octopus has got Aunt Bay, Mr. Tomei up there. He's going to drop off the building, and you're just like, she is so amazing. Like, look at her. She's awesome. There's no way she doesn't look 51.
Her eyes.
Yeah, like.
Wait, she's dead? What the?
Not even. I don't even care. Look at she bleeds so wonderfully.
Oh, jeez. That's a hardcore little enchantment you got going.
Threw her off a building and like she's bleeding out of her nose, dying. Just like look at her, she's dying so beautifully. So I get what you're saying because it might be too much, but how can you hold it against somebody that they're that awesome? And then it's not just a physical thing.
Hey,
she's just an incredible actress. She's charming. She's always been that way.
Hey, I don't hold that against her. I hold that against everything. Aside from Spider-Man, himself.
Yeah, he didn't. I mean, they cast her. That's the point you're making.
Yeah, everything about the way that's going with that series now is, the exception of Spider-Man, is kind of like question marks for me.
Wow, see,
they have her, and I was like, okay, and then they have Zendaya. Is that her name?
I have no idea.
I don't know, some like Nickelodeon or Disney TV star they have as one of the leads for it, and I'm like, yeah, this isn't looking good. And up until Civil War and actually seeing Tom Holland's Spider-Man, I had question marks on that too. But luckily
they're a little bit. You're a little bit eased on.
No, I don't have question marks on him. I mean, I have a question mark as to will he be the best.
Yeah,
but I'm totally on board with him as Spider-Man.
Yeah, so I have no question marks. For me, yeah, definitively the best Spider-Man I've ever seen ever, and that. I'm gonna sound like a little fanboy here. Yes, I do believe the '90s cartoon of Spider-Man was the best ever, but Tom Holland has, in one cameo, has surpassed it. Yes, I will go with that. I will go with that.
You sure are wrong, but that's your opinion.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know. It's okay though. I understand how you feel. Nobody's perfect. I don't ask too much. No, I'm just
yeah. But, you're not. Yeah. I am. Come on.
So this thing though is like. My honest opinion, I tweeted about it, and I see, if you will, forgive the metaphor here, I don't think it's not a metaphor. Anyways, look, there's a storm coming, and all the other comic book movies, even the Justice League, are going to be caught in a hurricane, as they said in the film Spectre, right? Like, I see a massive Leviathan juggernaut, no pun intended, franchise coming. And this, I think the Spider-Man in the hands of Marvel, essentially, I think it's going to, that first film may make $2.2 billion fairly easily, or it could make, it could become the highest grossing film of all time. I expect the second Spider-Man film, the solo Spider-Man film, to do $3 billion in business and just blow everybody away. And Tobey Maguire's wasn't a perfect Spider-Man. A lot of people, even they look back on it and say, like, the movie wasn't perfect, even if they think he is or whatever, right? But that movie, when you look, $800 million in a time when it should have been impossible to do that much money at that time. It was a juggernaut, And so now you take this, and now it's part of the MCU, and you can have Iron Man and Captain, anybody you want can come into this film and be a part of it, and it's the Marvel brand, Disney behind it. Marissa Tomei's wonderful Aunt Bay, right? I mean, I think there's a storm coming. And the Spider-Man, I have no question marks about it. I think it's going to be tremendous. They may, I would not be surprised if even I look at the first 3 Spider-Man films that come out and say 3 best superhero films of all time. Yes, even surpassing Dawn of Superman, finally. Somebody got that level and matched it and beat it a little bit. Like, I just think there's so much. I see, like I said, obviously I see it completely different than you, and definitely a box office juggernaut, again, no pun intended, juggernaut, is coming, and I think $3 billion, one of these films for Spider-Man solo film is going to do that kind of business. I just see that much greatness coming, and the kids, that whole thing we talk about, 3D prices, and the kids going to see it over and over again. You're going to have parents drag their kids to see this over and over again, plus the kids that would drag the whole family along. That's why I said this movie is going to be. I would not be surprised if both Justice League films are record-shattering, amazing.
I, on the other hand, am the opposite.
Yeah, well,
in so many ways.
Listen, I could see both Justice League films being record-shattering, amazing films, and not even make half as much as Spider-Man: Homecoming. I just see it. Yeah, I just see something there, and the other. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, what were you going to say? I'm sorry. I know. I see it totally different, but.
Man, you jumped hard. I never even got to say the thing that I had on Garfield. I was still on that. Was
Sorry.
The New York accent, which Holland didn't have in there. There was no New York accent. And then the next thing I wanted to slowly jump onto is, as you said, where the Henry Cavill and people want to say he's trying to go for Christopher Reeve, but you think he's just doing Superman, and because Reeve nailed Superman, that's where they get that comparison. And this is just a kind of a small... It's not even really something to bring up, but I sometimes feel like I should just say Henry Cavill's the best Superman, because I don't think it's a fair comparison. That's the thing. That's how much Reeve was Superman. I don't think it's fair to put anyone up to him, kind of thing. Like, well, who's the best? How does he compare to Reeve? Reeve was Superman, so it's not fair.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, I think I should just, off of what is, okay, Cavill's the best. And then, it's funny because my friend actually asked me once, he's like, who do you think was the best Superman? Cavill? And I was like, I looked at him like he's crazy. I was like, no, Reeve. And he's like, no, obviously Reeve, but I mean, and I was like, oh yeah, Cavill after Reeve. But that's how Reeve Superman was.
You're saying Christopher Reeve is Superman,
right? That it shouldn't be.
Henry Cavill's the best at acting, playing Superman,
right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying on that. That's just how I feel as far as that goes, because I don't think it'll ever be a fair.
No, it never will. Yeah,
yeah, it'll never.
No, yeah. Somebody in the Facebook group, excuse me, somebody in the Facebook group, they compared Batman versus Superman to the original Superman the movie, and I was just like, that's not, like you said, it's not fair. That's just
right.
Of course it's not as good as that. Are you kidding me? I mean, Richard Donner and Christopher Reeve and all those guys together, brilliant writer like Tom Mankiewicz, to come and help rewrite some of the things that Mario freaking Puzo, helped put together. It's just not fair. It's like saying Apocalypse Now, one of the greatest films of all time, maybe the greatest film of all time. And Francis Ford Coppola, a legend, rewritten by one of the greatest Hollywood screenwriters of all time, John Milius, based on an original idea that came from George Lucas, with the help of, Steven Spielberg and Brian De Palma, come on now, like, seriously, it's not fair, like you said, it's like compare what Ron Harper did, a sports reference here, right? Compare what Ron Harper did with the Lakers to what he did with the Bulls. Like, come on now, really? Like, it's a little bit different when you're passing the ball to AC Green, an aging AC Green, and an aging, Rice in the corner, as opposed to Michael freaking Jordan. It's a little bit different, right? It's just not a fair comparison, right?
Right. So that's just my little feeling on that. Is, it'd be great if everyone, let's all just put Reeve as Superman, not plain Superman. Yeah. I think it's basically that point where it's like, what, we just got to call it as it is. He's Superman, and now it's just who's the best at playing Superman.
Yeah.
He's not even in the category. I don't think he should be, because then you draw unfair comparisons for people, and they'll never top that.
I don't know where to put Cavill just yet. He's the best actor. He's the best actor to have ever had the role of Superman. Doesn't mean that they've used him and got the most out of him. I know we talked about that in the Batman Superman review. They're getting closer to it, and I hope they keep doing that. I mean, like I said, there's no way. I mean, I get what you're saying too. There's like a historical thing, because at this point, I'm not sure I would even say Cavill's better than George Reeves. But there's there's a historical thing to that, and it's really hard to compare the eras.
Right.
It's harder. They're trying to make Cavill go on a journey to become definitive Superman, where George Reeves might have been the only guy that got to play definitive Superman from the start, where he knows how to do everything the right way, and it's 1950s America too, so he's like part of the homeowners association, practically. Like, remember, folks, mow your lawns. So, yeah. Now, relating that back to Spider-Man, though, I mean, was that the point you're making about Tom Holland? These guys, there's really not. It's not fair to compare him to the 3 movies for Maguire, 2 movies for Garfield.
No, it was actually you brought it up with. When I was saying there was a part where I thought he was trying to act like Garfield.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And you brought it. Well, maybe it's because you felt Garfield nailed it.
Yeah.
And in terms of trying to nail Spider-Man, it just, for me, brought up.
Yeah, and I was asking because I'm not even.
Right.
I wouldn't even say that about Garfield.
Right.
Just something, like I said, there was just something weird about Garfield. I don't know what it is. something about his Spider-Man was off, and there was a huge disconnect. I never believed the skinny, scrawny kid walking around the high school with that big hair was the guy in the costume too, which is a big problem. It just, I don't know. It might have been him too. It might not even been a stunt double. It's probably all CG, but there was just something about it that didn't really work. I don't know. But of course, I really hated the first Amazing Spider-Man. Loved the second one, despite the fact people hate it. I mean, I know it's a pretty awful film.
Oh
but.
yeah, that's yeah. Looking back, it's like I watched it and I realized I'm not watching the movie. I'm like fast forwarding to parts. It's like, okay, this works. That doesn't. Here we go. So it's like, yeah, overall that wasn't a good film, but I really enjoyed it. The second Amazing Spider-Man, I should say.
Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. And
with hot Aunt May. No.
No, that's coming up with Spider-Man Homecoming. But we have on this one a lot of things. It's funny because one of the issues I have with this Spider-Man is his costume. These are like tiny
Tom Holland?
Yeah, this is like tiny little nitpicks here, and I was telling, basically my brother or whoever that would listen to me complain about the costume was
everybody who didn't walk away because you're crazy. No,
because I said, this was like the first Spider-Man. This costume is the best. It's awesome. It's that and that. It's for me the only nitpick I have is because it's still a great costume. I love the look of it. It's really cool. And then it's just like, but you look back at Spider-Man 1, 2, 3, Amazing Spider-Man 2, and those are all more comic book accurate than this movie. They're all more comic book accurate than this one. They don't have those little weird, chunky black lines all over his suit like this one does. The thing I love about this costume...
I believe you, sir, are splitting hairs again, but okay.
I am. I'll say that right up front. A lot of my complaints on Spider-Man are like nitpicks. like the tiniest nitpicks that prevent it from being, in my opinion, like perfection.
Hello? You want anything to snack on? Anything to drink? Get like a bag of chips. Get like a small bag of chips or something like some. Hey, do me a favor. Don't call again. All right. Mom, the meatloaf! Fuck!
I don't remember what I was talking about.
You were talking about how you're like a terrible, horrible, awful
nitpicks.
Person and splitting hairs like some kind of comic book loser because it's a comic accurate outfit except for a couple of squiggly black lines and he's like, see that there? It's
those aren't squiggly
it's not comic book accurate.
Those are ginormous black lines on that
So
costume.
do you really, I mean, see, this is the thing with Spider-Man. I think okay, here's the problem with Spider-Man. No matter what, to me, he always looks the same. Like, his costume...
That's fine.
Yeah.
Look at Amazing Spider-Man. That didn't look the same, and no, sir, I don't want that costume.
Well, yeah.
Gone.
Although I did like the black eyes. I know that caused controversy.
It was gold.
Whatever.
It was gold.
Sunglasses, right?
Yeah, it was sunglasses. But overall, I love the look.
Something about Spider-Man's costume. You would think it would be a bigger... Like, a Superman's costume's different, you notice.
Right.
Something about Spider-Man, just to me, always just Spider-Man. It looks the same, right? Even when he's in, like, a completely different outfit. A completely different outfit, right? It's like, I don't know how to describe it. But, so I think that's the problem. And then it's also like, the costume, if it looks close enough, I'm not going to go dig into my comic book collection and be like, aha, you see that? There's a black line on his wrist that he doesn't have in issue 95. It just seems to me like it's all going to look the same. I think that's why I don't really care about it that much.
Digging in your comic collection? You mean that is not on the forefront of your mind like it is mine? I don't need to look through my comics. I say, no, sir. Those black lines are not on his costume.
That? He's trying to lay down that, like, I remember, I don't need no looking notebooks.
I have 2 years more on you. This is in my head. But, like I said...
Well, two extra years of being wrong all your life? No, I'm just kidding.
Wrong, sir. Sir, look at those comics from your collection and see if those black lines are there.
By the way, this is how Civil War starts in the film. By the way, we haven't even talked about the main. We're supposed to be talking about Civil War. Oh my God! But it's just there's nothing to talk about.
This is Civil War.
There's nothing to talk about. There isn't. I'm sorry. What's the story? There's no story. It's plot. Listen, folks. You listen to Marty Scorsese, right? They're all on Twitter, Facebook. Everybody's like, listen, Martin Scorsese going to break it down. Story is what's taking place in the film. Plot are the things that happen that move the story along. This film is all plot. It's just plot, fight. Plot. I was waiting for Ken Watanabe to come out and be like, let them fight. Like, I thought he was going to be in the cave. They're going to be like, let them fight. Right? Black Panther's like their hatred. the hatred has eaten them alive. And then when Ken Watanabe's going to be right there off camera and be like, let them fight. Let them fight. I'm sorry. There's no story to talk about. It's a retread. It's just plot. We're talking about Spider-Man's costume here because, like, nothing in the story grabbed us to say, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Like, you notice that?
This is all true. I mean, I'll be honest. A lot of it, I was sitting there like, when's Spider-Man going to show up? When's Spider-Man show up? And I honestly think I give it, it was okay solely based on Spider-Man, to be honest, because it was that much fun, and I enjoyed watching him in that whole big... That's a funny thing, because the airport fight scene...
Yeah.
To me, I said that kind of... I mean, I enjoyed it every time Spider-Man came out. A lot of it was like, yay, this is fun, but to me it lacked soul, lacked purpose. There was... It just seemed like a spectacle for the sake of being a spectacle. Here's a fight, but why? None of it really seemed
you can tell, you can hear... I mean, you can hear the moment, the very moment... I think it's Hawkeye on the ground. Might be with Wanda Maximoff, right? Like everything, the whole tone of the movie just changes. This whole film was about that airport scene. There's no doubt in my mind.
No, easily.
And they just built everything else around it. You know, showcase. Look at what we got. Look what's coming. And again, I don't mind that. I just couldn't you have. This movie is shorter than Batman vs Superman, and it felt 5 times freaking longer.
Is it really shorter?
Yeah, it is. It's way shorter than Batman vs. Well, we should check it. Check the runtime.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sure it's shorter because everybody was talking about that.
It felt longer. To me,
it felt like 5 times longer. I was like, good God, man. This is like the longest movie I've ever seen in my life. Get an editor. They shot the editor and killed him. It's like, good Lord, man. Like, I mean, I was trying to be so respectful to the people in the theater because there was about 4 or 5 times where I was just like, I just wanted to be like, do something. Boring. Get the logos off the screen. Okay, because...
It's 5 minutes shorter.
Is it?
It's 5 minutes shorter.
It's 5 minutes shorter than Batman vs. I'm telling you, it felt like a 4.5 hour freaking movie.
Like I said,
and that's where I will admit I was wrong there. I thought, and I was telling Eric Leon at Rated EDL, I was telling him they could do it. A Marvel's so good, their fans are so loyal. They sat down for like a 25-hour freaking marathon before Age of Ultron came out, right? They can do a 4.5 hour movie, do an old school intermission. Marvel fans will do it. I was wrong. I was really wrong. Because I don't think they could. I think even the people that loved it. I mean, I'm telling you, this Marvel Civil War, I saw somebody crack a joke. It's longer than Ken Burns' Civil War, the documentary, right? The 55-piece documentary on Netflix you can see, right? It is, though, man. It's longer. It takes longer for this Marvel Civil War to finish than the actual American Civil War took to get over with. Like, I mean, this thing just goes on and on and on, and then there's more plot, and then Captain America, I don't know, like, you don't even care that it's so stupid and ridiculous that he's holding on to the helicopter. Again, all the same old story beats all over again. It makes no sense for Captain America to be able to do that. But he crashes the helicopter, and then they fall in the river, and nothing happens. There's no consequences. That's the other thing, too. There was no point for them to fight. They just were all like, okay, we're all go our separate ways now. Captain America FedEx packages a flip cell phone to Iron Man. He's like, hey. And he tries to give this voiceover like, listen. He sounds like me and you arguing right now. Listen, I know you're my friend. I know you thought you were right. You're really wrong because you're dumb, but, whatever. It's all good. I'm right. I got away with doing everything I did because, I'm bad.
I'm Captain America.
He was like John Goodman. Remember when he crushed the spider and arachnophobia? He's like, that's right. I'm bad. That's how arrogant and just Captain America, he's a super soldier. He's supposed to have the super serum, make him smarter. He is the dumbest mofo I've ever seen. He's like oblivious, like absolutely oblivious to everything. I mean, he's just so stupid. Like, here, these pins were signed. These pins signed the Lend-Lease. So, anyways, Mom, the meatloaf. Fuck. I'm sorry though. Like. Okay, you brought the energy out of me. I thought I was only going to get... He sends him a handwritten letter, right? Tony. And I'm like, he should just... if he would just read the lines from The Dark Knight, the end of The Dark Knight, I wouldn't care. Just get it over with. Say something worthwhile. But, I know I hurt you. Even though you're wrong. And then he's just like, if you ever need me, though, call me. And I'm like... like, I was waiting for it. how do we call him? He gave us a signal, or just like it's so baffling. And then Cap better go to Walmart and put minutes on that flip phone, man. Like this disposable flip phone that he's got, right? You mentioned, hey, Cap, we need you. Thanos is destroying the world. Sorry, we're sorry. The caller that you called is not paid his track phone. Oh shit, like what?
See, for me, I wouldn't say I hated the ending. I didn't like the ending, especially because I liked the end fight between Captain America and Iron Man. I liked Iron Man, basically, he lost. And he does not like that he lost. He's over there yelling at him, like, you don't deserve that. That's not yours. This and that. And then they cut to the next scene, and it's like, now what? Everything's normal, but it's not normal?
Yeah.
No, there needed to be something there. I mean, then
maybe
he sends him that letter. He sends him the letter.
Yeah.
And then you just see Iron Man reading it, and it's just like, okay, what was gained out of that?
Yeah,
There's nothing.
Rhodey's in the background trying to walk, falls over like 3 times.
There's nothing gained out of it. It's just like,
I think that would be the one part that I say I truly love that part. And again, it only lasts a few seconds. It's completely and utterly stupid the way he defeats Iron Man. And I was just like, I'm sorry, this is just stupid. This makes no sense on any level whatsoever. But whatever, I go on for an hour raging about how dumb that was. And then, it's like, oh, God. You know what they did? They did with Captain America. They did that whole... This is the company that was run by Stan Lee for so long, and his big thing was when you have these characters fight, there's supposed to be a little bit of a question mark or a hint of, well, who really won, or if it wasn't for this, The way people are fighting about Batman versus Superman, like, Batman didn't really win, or did he win, or who really won? They're arguing about it. There's an argument there between the fan base, right? There isn't that there. He just beats the shit out of Iron Man. Beats out of him, depowers him, and then walks away, right? And it's like, when you look at that whole context of it, it's just awful, because then basically he leaves him there. Tony Stark is like going on like a General Zod rant, like, you will bow down before me. You're like, and he's walking away like Marlon Brando's Jarrell, like, they don't even give it. And characters, boy, I won. What does it matter? No consequences for anybody, son. Here, take the shield. I don't even need the shield. I'm gonna go to an Old Navy, get me an Old Navy outfit, and go bust everybody out of this underwater prison somehow, without my shield, dressed like I came out of Old Navy, which is even stupider. But that one few seconds when he's like, you don't deserve that shield. It doesn't belong to you. My father made that. Okay, the MCU, it worked. That came together. This is what they built. And so that scene, I like that little moment, because to me it made sense, and that worked. But again, it's only a few seconds out of like... And I thought, they're really going to go for it here, right? They're really going to... There's a splash panel sequence of Iron Man's, blast or hitting on Cap's shield.
I hated that, by the way.
Slow motion splash.
Yeah, it just seemed a little... Okay,
yeah,
whatever.
It seemed like everybody else... I mean, I don't care. But everybody else apparently was going to lose their shit over it, so okay. And the directors talked about that, like, we're going to have the moment. So...
They made a big deal out of that?
Yeah.
I mean, I know, obviously when you watch it, it's obviously supposed to be a big deal. For me, it was like kind of an eye-rolling moment for me. Like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You're like old homeboy's wife, right? When he's like, yeah, we watched the Avengers, and when they did the wraparound of all the Avengers and the famous camera pan shot around all of them, and the music hits with his wife, she laughed, chuckled, like, yeah, right. That was your reaction to that, like,
kind of. It was just kind of like, okay.
Yeah, for me, it was more like, okay, fan service, all right.
Right.
But then, like, they're fighting, and he's like, I like it. I was like, what is wrong with you? You can't beat him hand to hand, right? That's what Iron Man's his computer tells him, and then he's like, okay, analyze his fight style, which a second thought occurred to me. I'll bring that up in a second, right? But he's like, yeah, analyze his fight style. Okay, we got it. And he's like, all right, let's kick it. And they start blocking and hitting Captain America in a way he's never been hit before, and they should beat him, but. Like a little kid in the backyard, I'm the younger brother, let him win, right? They're just like, I don't know where he gets the upper hand on him again. It was just, to me, it was so, just like the story. So things just happened because they happened. There was no, well, I zoned out 2 hours ago, so I really don't even care anymore. I don't know, though. I was trying really, really hard to stay paying attention. Because it was like, and then also, too, this fight takes place after, like, this, there's a subplot and a subplot to a subplot that you think is developing. It doesn't flesh itself out until the last act of the film you think you know what this subplot, because it's been a confusing,
is this the Baron
stupid
Zemo thing that you're talking about here?
Yeah, was that the guy? The guy that behind everything.
I'm sorry for that.
What?
That was garbage.
Yes, but you know what? It's like you don't even know what's going on, and you can start to guess halfway through the second act. But then so much other stuff goes on. Then they come back to it.
Yeah.
Then they tell you what it is, and now plot twist, it's something else because I just wanted to see all the heroes fight and destroy themselves.
Yeah, that was stupid. I hated that.
Yeah, and then of course Black Panther. You just wanted to see them fight, and hatred has consumed them like it almost consumed me. So now I will spare you. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck. They were doing so well with Black Panther until that bull. Oh, boy.
Yeah. What? No.
I was going to say you didn't like Black Panther either.
No, I did. I actually didn't expect to because that was the whole build-up. It's like, Black Panther's here, Black Panther's here. And you knew that was going to be the... And so it was like, all right, but then Spider-Man's here. So I was like... I found out, no, he's going to have a bigger role than Spider-Man, so it's kind of like, that noise, I don't want
they by the time they got Spider-Man...
Right, the thing's already in motion.
It was already in motion. They had already decided to use Black Panther as the Spider-Man go-between. They really did a good job hinting it in the fight. I like that part, because it's like, what did Stark tell you? Tony Stark told me this, and then, well, you know what, he said you would say that, Captain America. They kind of have a little dialogue in between, which I like that part. And then it's dumb because they're like, oh, where you from, kid? Oh, I'm from Queens. Oh, I'm from Brooklyn. Okay, I guess it's, these New Yorkers, and you know how they are. New Yorkers,
So I disagree with you on that.
Actually, the world
was like one of the things I thought, okay, all right, that's cool. I liked that. The whole little, you have heart. Where are you from? Queens. Then the little bit of admiration and respect, and then he's like, I'm from Brooklyn, and it goes, I like that.
Yeah, it's just the New Yorker thing that I don't like. It's like the New York,
whatever. You hate
New Yorkers.
You hate on New York, whatever.
New Yorkers think the world is all New York, so and then if like somebody's listening, it's like, well, it is. It's like, no, you're right.
Man.
It is.
Of course, it is.
World assholes. Anyways, hey, we'd like to thank you for Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, and that's all I got to say. Drop the mic on you, wonderful New Yorkers. New York values there. There's New York values. Anyways, okay, so. We got Captain Spider-Man. Yeah, fictional characters on paper. Cool. Anyways, so yeah, here's the deal. So you got me going on the film too. I didn't even expect to go that much into it, but it just, like you said, it's a subplot, and there's a subplot to a subplot, but then, no, it's actually the whole movie's based on this guy. And Martin Freeman, completely wasted. Is he just another Coulson? Just another kind of, they don't have S.H.I.E.L.D. anymore, but he's like, he plays the role of the S.H.I.E.L.D. idiot. Like, it's just a waste of time. Everything that was awful.
So this is why I like that I don't watch a bunch of nerd, like Hobbit.
Yeah.
It's like, everyone's like, oh, he's wasted for me. I'm like, I'm busy.
Okay, all right.
So,
alrighty then.
Boom. Same with Captain Phasma with the, hey, she didn't get it. And I like Game of Thrones, and I'm still like, so? Who's Captain Phasma? Yeah, move on.
And you never see her. She gets thrown in the trash compactor. We think. So anyways, before we get off topic here again. But yeah, I mean...
We've been off topic.
I know, because I'm sorry. Just like, what is there to talk about? Where's the story that you're going to talk about?
I love that this has been like 3 hours and probably going to be using like 30 minutes of it because of how off topic. Because there's really not a whole lot to say on it.
That's all we're going to say. There's nothing to say. Let's talk about really Superman now.
It's like a bunch of different like jumps. You can use things to jump off into other things. But yeah, there's like...
Cause like, okay, tell me one major story thing that stood out to you. All you do is laugh.
Yeah, because there's nothing. It was just like, overall, I was like, okay, that's fun. It was okay, but nothing really happened.
Oh, by the way, General Ross, have you seen the meme where he's like, yeah, I'm going to hold the Avengers accountable for all their stuff. This thing about where I gave the serum and created the abomination and all this stuff where I caused all the destruction here in Harlem, whatever. Let's leave those highlights out of this little reel that I'm going to show the Avengers, right? Where he's just like, New York, Harlem. Oh, we'll get that out of there.
No, go past this part. In fact, never play this again.
Right? Like, oh my God. Like, again, though, it's just that, to me, the film is defined by that opening scene. Just too much of the same. We've been here before, seen all before. She does the same moveset. Black Widow, she's going to jump, she's going to grab one guy, her feet are going to keep going, kick another guy over there, take that guy down, going to hit somebody behind her, hit a guy off to the side, swing around, do the Lita pro wrestling moves around everybody's head, Every time she's on a motorcycle, she thinks she's DMXing the freaking Rough Riders, right? Like she has to go up 2 feet, 2 feet on the seat. Just drive up to the thing and jump up on it. What are you out here doing? You know, it's like, it's the same tropes all over again. And to me, just a waste of time showing her. We know she's acrobatic. She should have died 100 times in these movies, right? The last 3 movies, she should have died 237 times. But we get it. She's invincible. She's protected by the halo of light. Like she's what do you call it? Jack Slater in The Last Action Hero. Nothing bad will happen to her in the movie world, right? We get it. She took a grenade to the back. It should have liquefied all of her organs, and she gets out like, oh man, yep, got
a few bruises.
Yep. Oh man, that hurt. Ooh man, like she fell off the back of the truck or something. This grenade gets thrown into this metal armored truck.
By the way, how long does that take? Usually maybe that's an accurate time. Usually in movies, when those things drop, it's almost an instantaneous.
Yeah, he had that long grenade.
Yeah, it's like, dude.
What he was planning to do was grab Captain America and give him a speech, so that when he pulled the pin, it would last a little longer, so he could give his speech to Cap. Right? I'm assuming that's what it was. Yeah, the world's longest grenade pin.
That's the problem. When you must assume. And that's the problem people had with Batman and Superman, but easily let that go here for some reason.
Yes. So yeah, there's that. Then there's a chemical weapon in the building. What do you want me to do with the gas? Get it out. So
what was the point of that?
Wait, no. Here's the thing, though. Launching the chemical gas into the sky so it can get caught up in the winds and blow all around this African village, right? That's the plan there. And our super soldier, our super smart super soldier decides, don't encase the gas so that nobody can get access to it. No, grab it and throw it into the atmosphere and let it everything and kill everybody in a 10-mile radius and it gets caught in the trade winds. This is our super soldier here. This is before he gets caught up there where he almost dies. They make up for that because he says it was my fault. He said Bucky's name and I became a little schoolgirl. I'm like, yeah, were you thinking about Bucky the whole time? Because you're a moron. You're an idiot. And you're supposed to be Captain America. I'm just sorry. All the goodwill they built up in Winter Soldier went right up in the sky with that gas. Did she destroy it? I don't know. I don't remember them making a point of that. You just see it kind of go up and then they move on to something else, right?
Time for something else. Where did that smoke go? What?
Yeah, like
No one knows for sure. It just went up.
Yeah, and again, it's the same Marvel tricks again. We've seen this before. You knew the minute that Falcon said, "Don't thank me," you knew there was some stupid joke about his thing coming. And it's the most cliche joke ever. Oh, I got this little thing and it's like my pet or like my little brother and it's got a nickname and that's not his name. Call him by his real name. Like, going back to the days of short freaking circuit here, that's how old this kind of stupid trope is, right? And again, they go back and I'm not calling that thing. It's like, it's like you could just seriously could have plugged that out of any film formula. Hey.
Give them some credit. They didn't go to the part where she eventually thinks it. That always happens in those things where it's like, oh, thank you, thing that I went and talked about before. They didn't do that here.
No, don't they have a moment later where she has a moment where she comes around on something?
I don't think so.
Is it with Iron Man? Oh, no, that's not something else. Where she's like, oh, that's right. But she's like, you know what? Tony Stark is right. See, she agreed with me. Okay, I immediately regret agreeing with you. Okay, that was funny. Never mind. That's what I was thinking of, right? When they were fighting in the thing, they go back to the same. They did that joke again. The same. That man is playing a video game. Didn't think we wouldn't notice, but we saw. He did the same thing when he's about to talk about this important. If there's a story point that's ever going to be birthed here, you would like to bring it up. No, he's like, yeah. Got coffee grinds in my sink. What am I living with? A bunch of teenagers here who's like, oh my god. And then like here's this little boy. We dropped a building on him.
I hated that whole. Wait, what was that? It was like, I thought you were talking about something serious. Now you're going on that. What the heck? Another thing to note, and Marvel fans will be happy to note this because they seem to hate the fact that Black Widow never has anything to do whatever. I don't think I've seen anybody point this out yet, but the women in this movie, untrustworthy. I don't know if I've seen anyone say that, but they are untrustworthy in this movie. Every single one of them turns on someone in there. I'm serious. Look at who's the first one. Scarlet Witch.
Okay.
She's like palling around with Vision, and it's the moment to get out of here. So it's like, screw you, Vision, I'm out.
Yeah.
Turns on him. Then you have the implied Sharon Carter turn on Captain America. And then you have Black Widow.
What did she turn?
Because, well, the way I read it is she's giving Black Widow the information on where they're at. Like, when Black Widow's talking to Black Panther, and then he's like, you know someone, and you know where they're at? And she's like, let's say I know somebody who does.
Yeah.
And then they immediately cut to her giving Captain America and Falcon their gear.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like,
well,
for me...
see, they'll take that as girl power.
Right.
Girls got to, outsmart the boys here.
Trustworthy, though.
Okay, well, that's how you see it. You know how I see it. It's like, I don't care. Move on! Oh, my God. And then, you know what, too? I've been seeing
and then
everybody...
Black Widow obviously turning on
yeah,
Team Iron Man.
Black Widow's the eight men.
Yeah.
So anyways, no, but the thing is, everybody's been sharing that thing around social media. It's I guess it's from Civil War, right? When he's just like, oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, again.
Dude, this time is way off. I got like a lot of time.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be 6. I didn't realize that's
Let me go get that soda.
I thought it was like 6 o'clock already.
You got me all charged up, too. You got me going to this movie.
Let's do this.
Wait, man, we ain't going to make no Marvel friends, though. No. just hold the door.
Okay.
I like how let me in. Remember Ghostbusters? I like how let me in.
Who doesn't remember that?
Oh, sorry. It's a drum right through. Jeez, I was like, the soda! The meatloaf! Fuck! Like I said, you got me going there, man.
Yes.
5 minutes, Mike.
Unfortunately, I am not as positive as I hoped to be on it, so a lot of things I'm going on what I hated that turned into like, it's okay, instead of...
I mean, okay, look. He's like, look, here are these 2 pins. They signed the Lend-Lease Act. FDR, signed them himself, right? Matter of fact, he's basically telling them, matter of fact, if it wasn't for these, you wouldn't be here. And he's like, you know what? I think I can go along with this. I'll get on board, right? Oh, thank you. I was joking.
Superman chips, yes.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, now we can't open them.
Why not?
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, we get to our...
Sidekick duties.
Yeah, sidekick duties. Going to bring in some chips and some drinks in here. It was very, very hot while we're recording today. But anyways, I mean, look, Captain America, he walks into this mess, right? And he's like, look, yeah, I can get on board. I can sign on. And Tony Stark's like, here are these pins. FDR signed the Lend-Lease Act with them, right? And as a matter of fact, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. It's kind of crazy, right? Got him out of Dad's collection. And he's all good for it. Until Stark brings up Wanda in a passing sentence. It's like, wait, what's going on with Wanda, right? We just have her on house arrest. That's internment. They obviously are trying to make a joke out of this, but how can you write something in a film that makes a joke out of what a character is taking seriously? Like, Captain America is that stupid because Tony Stark's point is legitimate. He's like, she's in like a 5-star freaking Avengers condo. It's hardly an internment camp. And Cap's like, no. How dumb is Captain America? But Eric Leon over at Rated EDL, he pointed out, look, this is where the outside world affected what's in the movie because Chris Evans, his contract, all that stuff is going on, right? If they don't kiss his and make it clear that he can come back and he's their top dog, why would he come back, right? He can leverage. But again, it's like, even if that's an excuse, man, again, like I said, what I just did, I try not to criticize writers as much as possible. It's hard for me to get by that because they made a joke out of it, so clearly they know it's ridiculous. That's internment. She's like in a 5-star condo with the Vision who can bring her anything, right? Even when they try to build the story out of it, I don't remember the Civil War comic book being that stupid. That's kind of what I'm getting at here, too. It's like...
See, I never read that, but as far as I would know, it was equally as stupid. Because everyone seemed to hate, as far as I knew, that comic, so... To me, it all seemed equally stupid.
Well, I mean, that's the really funny part. A lot of my really conservative, kind of religious, more Republican-leaning friends, they're sharing around that panel of Captain America. Easily. Awful. One of the dumbest comic book dialogues I've ever read in my life. You will stand next to the tree of truth, right? And you'll look back at the world and say, no, you move. Pretentious, right? Like, holy crap, pretentious, right? These are pretentious comic book writers who overreacted to the Patriot Act. And, if you can disagree if you want, but as far as I can tell, how you built the story in the Civil War comic book didn't really truly come to pass based on the Patriot Act that the Bush administration passed, which is what they've said. They have proudly stated all these years that it was like a kickback, pushback against the war on terror and that whole thing, right? That's how I've always heard it described, and I've seen these guys talk about it. And, I know some people say, well, a lot of people are, it's true, there's a lot of problems with it. It's kind of funny because, it's the more liberal Democratic president who's actually putting whistleblowers away and locking them up and stuff, and it didn't happen in that time frame that everybody was talking about when they wrote Civil War. So, even like I said, the political thing, I think they were trying to be very non-political with this movie, and that was okay. It worked out fine, but again, we're just, there's no way around this. So if you compare Batman versus Superman, compare it to Civil War, I'm sorry, I just, without a question in my mind, is a better, much more believable setup in Batman versus Superman than, say, Civil War for why these two characters are butting heads, right? Like, at least it's pretty, even if you don't take in all the secondary meanings in Batman versus Superman, he just doesn't trust Superman. He wants to take him on. He thinks he's a threat and he has to be defeated, right? What the hell is the motivation that makes any sense for either of these guys?
Are you actually asking me?
Yeah.
There is none.
Looking for answers here.
Yeah, there's none because they've already done so much. Like, Iron Man feels guilty. He's felt guilty already. Why again now, out of nowhere?
Yeah.
Just because somebody says, hey, this kid died. Okay. Yeah, and? I mean, not to sound cruel, but, since when did that change anything? They died before and he felt bad about it, so why now is it like, yes, we must do this instead. We must join up and...
Look, lady.
Do all that stuff.
It was either him or the whole world. I think we've run out of steam for Civil War. I don't even know where else to go. Like I said, I don't want to get into I would love to do a commentary one day and just pan this film from step by step, but like I said, I was cracking up earlier when you were like, I don't like to do the, I'll just keep it at a 0.5, so a 9.5 or whatever, right? Or 7.5 because I don't like to do the...
Don't give me a 9.5
Sorry. What was your rating again? 7.5.
7.5.
But see, that's my thing when you're like, I'm like, see, I'm the opposite. Batman vs. Superman, 9.8 out of 10. I don't mind doing that whole thing. So for me...
Well, I'll do that if it's close to a 10. That's the only time I'll do it.
Okay, well, for me, I don't care.
Close to a 10, then I'll give it like a little 0.9, 0.8, whatever.
Yeah, well, I'm about to blow your mind here. Are you ready for this?
I don't think my mind can be blown from this.
All right.
It'll blow my mind if you give it like a 9, and it's like, what
I'm going to give Captain America... Avengers 3 Civil War. So I'm going to give it you ready for this? A 0.5 out of 10.
Yeah, not blown. Wait, I thought you were going to go 0.3. I honestly thought you would say a 0.3 out of this. And I was like,
okay, yeah. He's like, well, if you could do a 9.5, then you could actually go below the scale of 1, right? So what would be my frame of reference here? Well, the Avengers would be a 0.1 out of 10. Winter Soldier, which is funny because I got a lot of I don't agree with any of the hype on Winter Soldier. I think it's a good movie, just barely a good movie, but it's a good movie. So I'd give Winter Soldier a 1 out of 10. And like the first Iron Man,
your whole rating system is like whack.
Yeah, well, then like the first Iron Man,
Winter Soldier was good, so it's a 1.5. What? That doesn't make sense.
I'm very harsh on films, man. You got to really get up there.
I don't see how you can be that harsh and say it's a good film, though. That's what throws me off. It's like, it was a good film, 1.5. What? What? That doesn't make sense.
Yes, it does.
1.5 is a terrible movie. That is a terrible movie.
I'll give you an example. Okay. Dumb and Dumber, right? How do you rank Dumb and Dumber? One of the dumbest movies of all time, but purposely, right? One so by nature, one of the funniest movies of all time. One of the most entertaining movies I've ever seen in my life. And I always feel good. I laugh hysterically, right? You ain't ever going to get me to say that this movie's a 10 out of 10 and better than The Godfather. When I rank the Star Wars films, right, I rank them by what is the best film overall. How is it constructed as a complete film? The first Star Wars movie has a lot of fun moments in them, right? But you're going to get me to say because I love Han Solo, not that way, the other way, running down the hallway, right? Just hysterical moment. Love it, right? I love the whole stuff with, Obi-Wan and talking about, 1,000 years of Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace in the Old Republic, right? Love it. You're never going to get me to say it's better than The Empire Strikes Back, because as a whole film overall, The Empire Strikes Back it's actually, it leaves the genre. It can be compared to the greatest films of all time. The Empire Strikes Back can be a top 10 film of all time. It can be compared to The Godfather, The Godfather Part 2 and stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. Like, my system of rating, I know people, like I said, it's like, I guess you could say I enjoyed Winter Soldier more than I think it's a good movie then. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's good, it's just barely good. That's like I said, Dumb and Dumber. How the hell do you put Dumb and Dumber in? The Mask, one of my favorite movies of all time. Again, get a lot of enjoyment out of it. It's actually constructed pretty well as an overall film. But you're going to say, okay, well, so yeah, way up there, man. 7 out of 10, right? Wait a minute. You just said that Apocalypse Now was a 6.9 or something. I'm just like, well, what I'm saying? It's like, well, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
I get it. It's just never in any format ever can I see a 1.5 being given to a movie called good. But no, I get that weird rating system, because my brother on initial viewing of this gave it an 8, but his rating for Batman vs Superman is a 7.5.
Yeah.
And he thinks Batman vs Superman is a much better movie.
Yeah.
But he rates that one differently because, based on all these other elements.
Yeah.
So that's why he gives it a lower grade than he gave this, but he thinks this was nowhere near as good as Batman vs Superman.
Yeah.
But it's just weird ratings. I'm just thrown off by the fact that you said good 1.5. And it's like, wait, what?
I'm very harsh on films, man.
Wow.
I will say that, though. I am very harsh on films.
It's a good movie, 1.5.
Yeah, well, because, again, Jaws. I really don't know if there's a perfect movie in the whole history of the world quite like Jaws, right? But again, like I said, I like Die Hard a lot more than I like the first Jaws film. And I question sometimes, is Die Hard better put together than Jaws overall? But then, like I said, I have to fall back on, it's that scene with Quint on the boat that's just so amazing, so jaw-dropping, so spectacular. When he's talking about how they delivered the Hiroshima bomb, and then they got caught up in the sharks when they got sunk, right? But it's like, can I compare that to Bill Clay? Oh, oops, no bullets. What do you think, I'm stupid, Hans? Right? Like, not that that's the comparable scene, but it's like, I don't think that's more of like a, yeah, this mofo, right? And that mofo, where there's not that in Jaws. It's just like, it's just a masterpiece, so like, that's why, like I said, I fall into that. That's why I said I have to, to not degrade the films that are good, I have to be harsh on everything that I judge. Because you have to compare it. Like if I said, oh my God, Man of Steel's like, a 10 out of 10. Wait, but you said The Godfather 1's a 9.1. You're saying the Man of Steel's better than The Godfather? What? I'm saying that. Yeah, even as a big a DC fan as I am, there's no way. I don't even think I could put Chris Reeves' film, the Superman the movie, above any of the early Ford Coppola films, right? This is like kind of like what you're saying earlier. It's almost unfair to compare, like that type of thing. It's like the Ten Commandments, too. It's just a legendary film that kind of encompasses film overall. It's really hard to give the Ten Commandments. You're tempted to say 10 Commandments 10 out of 10, but here are my 10 reasons why. But anyways, it's like yeah. So hey, we got some Superman Doritos. I'm pretty sure that's why they got picked out for us. Superman. Would you like some delicious Cool Ranch Doritos? They don't sponsor us. We don't have any sponsors. But
yet.
If you would like some, sir, I'm going to leave them right here.
Awesome. I will take some.
Yes. So anyways, obviously we reached a new low here. Is we just, again, we're off base on Civil War again. I don't know what else there is to talk about, because I don't think there's much to talk about.
This is going to be the random podcast episode. Civil War and other things discussed. Either that or you're going to have to do a lot of listening and then chop up all the parts of Civil War.
Let's record the real Civil War podcast. So I saw Civil War. Sucked. Hated it. You saw it.
I saw it. I thought it was okay.
Yeah. The end. Yeah, moving on.
Spider-Man was cool.
This is bad. Aunt Bay. Aunt Bay.
No, sir. No, sir.
Aunt Bay, Aunt Bay, Aunt Bay. So, is it? Okay, I'm venting here, and I'm noticing I'm not enticing you at all. So, is there nothing like? Do you just like as there is? It's like, yeah, I kind of agree. There's really not much to the story.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it was okay, as in what they did was like all right, but nothing about it like jumped out like, oh, this is fantastic. This is great. Like I said, the airport fight, which is basically what the whole thing's wrapped around.
Yeah,
that's basically the whole reason everyone. They said that in the theater that I showed because it was IMAX, so they had a little brief presentation from the directors on it, and they basically said that. They basically said this is the whole. Basically, they didn't say what scene we did. We have a scene we shot in IMAX. It's a pretty big scene, and probably the whole reason you guys came. So they basically said the airport scene is what this whole movie is about. That scene, and to me, though fun at times, it just seemed kind of like, it's like they're fighting just to fight for the spectacle of a fight without a purpose to the fight. Now, you had little things where every time Spider-Man came on, I'm able to tune it out because fun. I think I gave it an okay because Spider-Man was in this movie.
Oh, I'm telling you. Spider-Man elevated the entire film.
He did. So I totally agree with people who said, because I've seen it before, when you watch the movie and you're wishing it was the Spider-Man movie. Because that's how much, like I said, I have no question marks for this guy. I'm on board with him as Spider-Man. The movie, his franchise after that, we'll see. As for him as Spider-Man, I'm sold on this guy. This guy is going to be fine. He's going to be just fine.
But Marvel wishes this was a Spider-Man film too. Do they heavily feature him? The post-credit all up in Spider-Man, right? All the Spider-Man things, the little flashlight he's got. Flashlight. Anyways, it's not a flashlight, but whatever. Don't care. Aunt May comes up again. Okay, tough guy. That charm, that just little charm she has in her face, but I'm in love with her again. Here we go again. I'm all up on Marissa Tomei here. Where she like, I don't know if she winks at him, but kind of winks at him the way she's just like, yeah, okay, tough guy. And I'm just like, I wish she was my Aunt May. Anyways, okay, wait, yeah, no.
That was weird.
No, that's not how I meant it. Anyways, I probably wouldn't care. Anyways, no, but it's like, then, it's like, at the end of a Captain America movie, Spider-Man will return.
Yeah, because, yeah.
We're on to Spider-Man, baby. That's my thing, too. Okay, you know what? All the fans, all the critics, all the online writers, you know what they've been saying? How Captain America, or why Captain America's trilogy is better than the Dark Knight trilogy.
Oh, my God. Wow. I saw something asking, which is better? I haven't seen any of this. This is the reason why. This wasn't even better than Batman vs. Superman. Get out of here.
This wasn't even better than Winter Soldier, which is not even, it's a 1 on my scale of 10. But no. There was a meme going around the Facebook group, and it was like, which had the better trilogy? And I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, Cap didn't even have a trilogy. He's got one really awful, horrible movie. A straight up 0 out of 10 on my scale. Right, in the first Avenger, right, just painfully bad. Then there's Shield versus Hydra, featuring Black Widow and the Winter Soldier, or excuse me, featuring Black Widow, Captain America 2, 5-minute guest appearance on the Winter Soldier. Right? It's not even a freaking Captain America film, right? And this one is straight up just not even a trilogy for Cap. And if you say, oh, Captain America's trilogy, it gets better as each film goes on. Funny how the less it has to do with him and it focuses on all the other Avengers, the better they get by your logic. Like, it's just, yeah, to me, it's just the whole thing is absurd. I don't even consider that he even has even one good movie. I honestly, tread carefully here. But yeah, I mean, not Batman and Robin, but Batman Forever would be better than even First Avenger and Winter Soldier, in my opinion, overall as films. It's like, before you even talk about the Dark Knight trilogy, you want to see if you can even get out of battling Schumacher's films.
Schumacher's Batman Forever had a lot of potential. Had you changed up some couple of things here and there, that might have been a good movie. You never know. But yeah, no, like you said, a lot of things I'm not really coming back on because a lot of it's like, I thought it was okay. And part of me wonders if I give it a pass just because of Spider-Man. Just because I really enjoyed Spider-Man being on there. And it's like, here's the goofy part. I was giving about his costume. The one thing on his costume that I loved was the back spider. Just because it looked more traditional than any of the other ones. And I was like, yeah, Yeah.
So now this inaccurate Spider-Man costume looks better than all the others.
I didn't say it looked better.
More traditional. Oh,
I just said the back spider was more traditional.
Now, what did you think of the way Black Panther was introduced? There's two parts to it. The camera pans around and they show him when he shows up. That's when he gets hit in the eyeballs with the helicopter turrets, but they don't even, he doesn't even rock him, right?
Right.
So, then, which by the way, I saw somebody say, see, he's just as strong as Superman. It's like, those were just like regular machine gun bullets. Superman was getting hit by Warthog A-10 uranium rounds. That would have killed Black Panther for sure if it had caught him dead eyebrow the way it did Superman. But anyways, when he's in the car and they're like, hey man, Catman or whatever, you Catman? And he's like, the Black Panther has been... Right. Did you think too underdone, too overdone? Where do you fall in that category?
It's tricky. Like I said, I don't know. That's what I was saying before. I knew that was going to be the big push going into this was Black Panther. Because that was intended to be the highlight of this movie was, we're introducing Black Panther. Pre-Spider-Man being a part of the universe. That was the push. Let's make him huge. Let's make him so cool. So when that introduction happened, I was all right. The cat thing, I'm mixed on that. Because that was just another one of those stupid, like, classic Marvel making a joke kind of thing. I kind of gave it a pass just off of the characters involved. It's Falcon. He's a bird. It's a panther. It's a cat. And the way he asked him was like, so you got a thing for cats or something? Or I found that kind of funny. I was like, that's funny.
Come on, man. Bird costume? That was funny. That was hilarious. I ain't right.
This is how little there is to talk about this movie.
We're about done. There's one more thing I'm trying to think about. Okay, again, though, I go back to this. This is Marvel's thing. They borrowed it from... It's classically James Bond's deal. That James Bond will return. Back in the old days of James Bond. Now, Christopher Reeve's Superman movie, they did the same thing. They talked about that. The producers talked about it. They wanted to purposely, like James Bond, so at the end of... I think at the very end, I think you have to wait through all the credits, and then at the end of Superman the movie, it says coming soon, Superman 2. Right? I think that's how it goes. And in Superman 2, as soon as it goes to credits, it says coming soon, Superman 3. I believe that's the way it goes, right? And then after Superman 3, they're like, holy, you won't believe it's coming next. No, anyways. But, no, but I think that's how it went. So then now they said Tony Stark will return. That was at the end of the first Iron Man movie. Again, a James Bond thing, borrowing from with James Bond. I think definitely borrowing more from James Bond than Superman, although both of those franchises did it previously. But at the end of a Captain America movie, no, we're not overloading it with Avengers. We're not overloading it with characters. And no, it's all about Cap. It's all Cap. Don't worry about it. Pay no attention to the Avengers behind the curtain over there, right? And at the end of a Captain America movie, Spider-Man will return. Can you imagine if at the end of Man of Steel it said, Batman is coming? Or if at the end of Batman vs. Superman it said, Batman will return. Can you imagine that? Like the fallout, the hatred from the community, both of fandom and critics and stuff alike. But like you said, it's just more like, maybe everybody's like me, they're just like, Aunt May. And they're just stuck on her. They don't even see that and they can't react. They're just like, but like...
See, I'm willing to give it a pass. Here's why. You already pointed out, Chris Evans' contract, we don't know where he is. They basically kind of, for the time being, wrote out Captain America. He straight up says the Avengers are yours to Iron Man in that letter that you hate so much. In that letter, he says, you have the Avengers. So
I just imagine him handwriting the letter. Oh, nope, no good. And then he handwrites it. He reads it out loud, and Falcon's like, wow, man, that sucks. Like how he did in those. You practice that. I just imagine him writing that 4 or 5 times.
So I give them a pass on that just because we don't know if Captain America is going to be back. And what they do know is, we have Spider-Man money to make now. So, yeah, and that is like the highlight of this film. So, yeah, Spider-Man's coming back. Now,
go ahead.
I was just going to ask, when you went to see the movie, how many people were in your theater?
About 50 people.
50? What was the reaction at the end? Did you hear anything? A lot of...
Yeah, I'd say about 50 people were in the theater. Overwhelmingly positive reaction. And it was a really older crowd. There were a lot of really... I don't say really old, but I'm sorry. They look like 4th grade teachers, who'd been teaching for 25 years.
Oh, okay.
But a couple of young people, they laughed at every joke. They laughed at every pun. They laughed, I think, inappropriately. Always happen. Every Marvel film I see, people laugh inappropriately. I don't know how. Okay, when I didn't see it as a joke when Falcon walks up to Rhodey, who just fell from the sky, and he's like, "Is he okay?" And the way Iron Man palm blasts him, he shoots him and blasts him away. I didn't take that as a joke. I took that as like a very angry reaction from him. But
I took that as a horribly shot scene because I took it as he's off angry. This isn't funny, but I saw it and the way it happened, it looked like something that would be done to be funny. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was like a horribly. It wasn't shot well because I didn't take it as it's supposed to be funny. But I definitely saw why people would laugh at the way it was shot. It was just like,
oh boy, let me tell you.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Going forward, like we were talking about, all the goodwill that everybody built up in Winter Soldier, all gone for me. Gone and now turned negative on its head because they just, again, I just don't want to get into it. And again, they just ignored. It sort of it reminded me a lot of Star Trek Into Darkness and how awful that film was at following up what was established in the last one. They just, every story beat that they tried to set up and pick up on, they just went back and just, it's like, they don't even, instead of being like, wait, that's internment what you're doing to Wanda, why not be like, Tony, do you not realize what happened? You weren't there, but did you see what happened in Washington, D.C. and the S.H.I.E.L.D.? That has to be the linchpin here, right? Like that, if you don't reference it in a film and it's not there, you can't give the film absolute credit for saying, well, they're referencing what happened here. Not unless they do it for you, right? That's what makes the film better because you build it on your own, right? Like, one of the reasons I always say The Dark Knight is one of the best films ever made. I was just thinking about it this week. It's so good that it applies to real life. They had that opportunity to do that just within the Marvel Universe and didn't even bother referencing it. Right, I think the only thing, there's like one or two references to like when S.H.I.E.L.D. fell or when Hydra fell, right? And it's part of the subplot for sure. And that subplot with the guy who's really behind everything, he's like, he makes one reference to it because that's how he says he got access to everything, right? And somebody else makes one small passing reference. How does that happen?
Yeah, that's just not great on the way they do it.
So now,
it's like, the whole thing is, like you point out, the whole thing is, we need to have the sanctioned government, or the sanctioned team. The government needs to sanction it. And Captain America is, like, anti-doing that. And, to point out Washington, D.C., all that S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff, that should be something Cap uses, basically. That's like, hey, we tried a government-regulated thing before, and look what happened. It was infiltrated. We had people working for somebody else or working against us that were running our own program. So we need to be. That was never brought up. They bring it up against to use as the motive to go forward instead of ever really saying, logically, the reverse of like, yeah, that was caused because we did follow a sanctioned thing, and that's what happened because of that. But no, they didn't really pay any attention except for the damages on it. Oh, there's damages.
I think, have I done enough bashing?
I'm trying to get some good stuff in here so you don't lose all your Marvel fans. But I'm drawing blanks.
So that's why when I was on Twitter too, I was saying I just think and oh God, I hope I'm right, because it was the grand finale, the last hurrah for all the greatest hits of the last couple of phases.
Right.
And now going forward, when you see the trailer for Doctor Strange, that thing looks unreal. You see what they did with Black Panther and how they previewed Wakanda right there. It looks pretty epic. It looks like kind of like a really good version of the way the Phantom should have been shot, where he's running around the jungle and stuff like that. The animation and stuff, you realize, holy crap, this thing could be like, Avatar statuses, where you compare it to the Phantom when they try to have him running around the jungle in that film. It looked really, really bad back in the 90s, right? So you realize, I think, we're at that point. This could look awesome. This could be incredible. And now Spider-Man's coming, which I believe, like I said, is a hurricane that all other comic book films are going to get swept up in. And so, you see that going that direction. I feel positive going forward, even though I think I come across a lot more negative than I actually am. It was just more like, yeah, I wish I wouldn't have. Whatever. If I had to put up with it one last time and now they're going to do fresh things, new things, more ambitious things, then I'm all for that. Because I like the way Doctor Strange looks. I love the way Spider-Man set up. Like I said, I think he's already the best, so it can only get better. And, for me...
But that's where you're wrong.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Even for me, if the Spider-Man's not great, I'll always be able to say, you know what? He made Civil War worth it. I'll give my boy some love, right? Any final thoughts on Civil War?
Still standing by. It was okay. It's not changing. I feel a lot better on my 7.5. At first, I was like, "Wow, this is a very big jump when you have a 0.5 and versus a 7.5."
Yeah, I don't think there's ever.
But that was until you said that Winter Soldier was good and it's a 1.5. Then I was like, "Oh, okay." So this is a weird rating system he has. So I feel better about my 7.5. But,
my official rating, 0.5 out of 10 for the dreadful Avengers 3 Civil War.
But it was like, it's, like I was saying, that's the funny thing is...
I got a question for you, though. Yeah. I got some final thoughts on this film. I got a question for you. How did Captain America get that prison to rise out of the water? How did he get down in the water, dressed in that J. Crew outfit?
How did he know about it, first of all? Good points made all around. How the hell did he know about that thing?
He took out everybody by hand? Who do you have with him?
Yeah, I don't know. He didn't have a shield.
You would assume Bucky could be with him because in the post-credit he goes under again. But that means it's Bucky with one arm.
Right. As I say, it's a one arm.
Well, that's hard swimming, man, with one arm.
Right.
And it's a metal arm lagging you down in the waves and stuff.
Maybe Black Panther helped him?
I guess. Maybe that's...
I'm guessing that's...
How did they get the thing to come up out of the water? Maybe they didn't. Maybe Black Panther had a submarine.
They might have gone under. He's a king, man. He has a jet that nobody caught flying around with him in. So
wait, he does?
How do you think he followed Iron Man? He was in a jet.
I thought he stole another jet. That was his jet?
I assume it was his jet. Nobody saw him get on board or take off.
He stole Wonder Woman's jet? Her invisible jet?
Yeah, he did.
So wait, were they doing... I just realized how... Wait, okay. I realized how dumb that would be. If my point is right, that they're doing all this fighting to go after that one ship, and there must have been another one off to the side somewhere. No, I thought... Wait, what scene are we talking about here? Because
I'm talking about when Iron Man goes to see... when he goes to visit... When he sees the guys in the prison, and then he leaves... to take off without letting them know that.
That's okay. So he's following Iron Man.
Yeah, he's following Iron Man. I'm not talking about the airport.
Yeah, because doesn't he sneak in? Right? Doesn't he get in?
No, he doesn't get in.
How does he get to where Cap and Iron Man fight?
Yeah, he gets to where Cap and Iron Man fight because he follows Iron Man.
I thought he stowed away.
No, he tried to get.
Missed.
Yeah, he tried to get in. He got the tire, but he couldn't hold on, so he just fell off. They even say when he's talking to Black Widow, he says. He told the Black Panther told them what she did.
Yeah, see, this is what happens when you have a 3-hour movie.
Like,
when you have a 3-hour movie that has no story, there's no track to follow. That's what happens, folks. Stuff gets out of order. So, anyways, 5 minutes less than Batman vs Superman. It felt like 5 hours longer than Batman vs Superman. Seriously, we're done with Civil War.
Yeah, we were. I was talking about Spider-Man by itself.
Okay.
I was just going to say, there's no guarantee just because he was good in here that the movie, his series will be good. I think it's possible we may have another Hulk situation on hand where it's like, oh, Hulk is awesome when he's with everyone else, but his movie's no good. We might have that. I'm telling you, I don't trust the Disney route of this franchise.
That, sir, was uncalled for.
I'm just saying.
Well, again, we probably see it differently.
I'm staying very cautiously optimistic.
I just think comparing Hulk as a character to Spider-Man as a character, to make that comparison is like saying the next Superman movie could be like The Incredible Hulk. It's like, wait a minute. Superman as a character alone is going to bring in a huge opening to people that are going to give it a majority thumbs up. Even Spider-Man 3 got positive reviews. Spider-Man 3
didn't get positive reviews.
Yeah, it did. It got a good portion of positive reviews from a lot of hardcore Spider-Man fans. They were doing the Phantom Menace thing where they're all like,
remember it being torn apart.
Well, yeah, it got torn. Anybody with a brain tore it apart. But Spider-Man's fans had their minds clouded. It took them about 5 years to admit, yeah, that sucks. We don't want to talk about it anymore.
Too late. Here we go again. I hate that. Oh, I hate that.
What?
I'm sorry.
What?
It was a Sandman thing. That's all. Ugh. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
Oh, God. Hey, wait, go. Stop it. Give him some water over here. Having a seizure. Give him some water.
Horrible. Horrible.
Okay. We're not going to talk about Spider-Man 3, though.
But I must. Just about that end. I'm just going to go on the end of the whole...
Oh, when he blows away?
Yes. God, I hate that.
Easily one of the dumbest things in movie history. That.
It's like, I'm going to kill you, Spider-Man. Hell yeah. I'm going to team up with this guy. We're going to kill you. Oh, crap. They killed him. Hey, Spidey. Hey, man. Sob story. We cool? I didn't mean to kill your uncle. We cool?
I brought you some wine from the movie Sideways here.
It's like, we're cool? And then he's just like, yeah, all right, I'm out. Blow off. It's like, he tried to kill you. That is not okay. You're just going to let him go? He's not a good guy. He just tried to murder you.
Spider-Man told him, be good.
Yeah, it's like, that's all I'm going to go into that one. There's so much more to go to, but that's...
just the way it looked, the way it happened, one of the worst things ever.
That's my ultimate, like, I hate you.
Well, on the other hand, Superman did let Gus Gorman go free.
That was different. That was different. He didn't try and kill Superman. He didn't know they were making the machine for that, as a matter of fact. And he said, hey, you're going to be the guy who kills Superman. He was like, no. That was literally what he said. No.
No. Superman! No!
Stop it!
You're killing him!
Stop it! Yeah! What if he was like, me and Spider-Man? He opens up his sand, you get a little spider, a little black spider. Hey, look, it's what did you say it was? It's more traditional.
It's a more traditional one. I said back, not black. Back.
Okay. So, anyways, we just can't get off Spider-Man, can we? No, I don't want. I don't want to talk about those movies, man. There's no Aunt May in them, so. Oh, I'm going to tell you a long, boring story that'll make you guilty and make you make the wrong decision. So, anyways.
I pretty much hated Aunt May in those movies.
Yeah, she's horrible. I tell you, man. I'm like, kill her! Drop her! That's how I she didn't die? Yeah. Man, this movie sucks. It was like, she just shot Aunt May instead of Uncle Ben.
Drop her.
So, anyways. Oh, my God. They almost killed her in the first one, too. Puts her in the hospital.
Yeah.
Say it. Should have blown her up. So, anyways, where are we going with this?
We're just rambling now.
Civil War just did me in, man. I'm telling you, this just did. No, okay. Here's the thing, though. My final thoughts on it. You ready for this?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Superhero fatigue is here. Superhero fatigue set in. There's all these guys out there trying to be cute. They're trying to be smart. They want to blame Batman versus Superman. You know, X-Men Apocalypse. It sucks because they try to be like Batman versus Superman or Batman vs. Superman, it sunk the opening. No, it's superhero fatigue. You had 1, 2, 3 major comic book movies within a short span of each other. Okay. There's another one coming out. 2 more after that, if I remember correctly, right? Before the year's over. Suicide Squad, and then what else? There's one more coming out, isn't there?
Doctor Strange comes out this year.
Is it?
November, I think.
So there you go. 2 more coming down the path. It's too much in such a condensed period. And I gotta be honest with you, even for me, who I'm a huge DC fan, I've always enjoyed the movies. I enjoy a lot of what Marvel's done, despite I give it low ranks. It's getting tedious to get to the theater, to deal with the lines. It's so hard now. It's going to open up on a Friday or Thursday.
Right.
Now it's opening up on a Tuesday, and there's a special poster and a special T-shirt, and there was a giveaway. Now it's been moved. We knocked out 2 more theaters. There's even more.
Right.
You don't even know what line to stand in anymore.
I didn't watch it till this week because to me it's becoming like it's not worth it. You know, it's like I used to go opening night, but now it's like this big lines, and for me this movie was like it's not worth that line. I'm not going to worry about it. I'll go a week later. The last showing of a Saturday night, and hopefully no problems. Wasn't a problem here. I was actually going to say this. This is what I found very interesting. You told me about 50 people were there, and they loved it. The theater we went to was probably like 30, 40 maybe.
Yeah.
We went to the IMAX showing. It was a interesting crowd. It wasn't a lot of laughs in it. Nobody laughed inappropriately. The shot where he shoots him, no laughs in that.
Well, I mean, I think we should preface. We didn't do a survey on these people.
No.
So I'm a very quiet person. Mm-hmm. They would have known whether I loved it or hated it. They could have guessed, but that's the other thing too. I heard a couple of comments from some of the older ladies too, where they were like, "But see, I don't know if that's like." I heard it with the girl. I told you the young girls that saw Batman vs Superman when I was there,
right,
crying, weeping. They were talking about how it was like, whoa, way more serious, but so good. But it's only one of them talking. The other three of them could have said, yeah, it really was serious. Like they really took it seriously. That could have meant they hated it.
Right.
We didn't survey these people. But we're just taking a guess based on like body language and stuff, and nobody threw their popcorn down.
Like
or anything.
I said, it was a much different crowd. Quiet. That doesn't mean they disliked or anything. It was just very different crowd. But here's the part where I will make notes on. When it ended, the people behind me, not even like at the last credit scene, but just the end of the main movie, the first thing the guy behind me was like, well, that was disappointing. So I was like, oh, okay. Then the only other comment I heard was after the very last end credit scene, that was stupid. So
wow.
Only things I actually literally heard from anyone were negative. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying everybody else there hated it. Maybe these people went in with I'm going to hate this movie. I'm going to hate it, and they made that decision. I don't know. I didn't ask them. I didn't poll them. But those were the only reactions I heard from anybody other than the people I went with. Was that? It was that was disappointing and that's stupid. So
yeah, I have heard a lot of those things, various points during the Batman when I was leaving Batman Superman. But like you said, it's just to me though, I do think the fatigue has really set in. And that's what it is. And it's not, look, I mean, if you're a 90s kid, think about this. I've been all around this country. Gone to college across the country from California. Spent a lot of time all up and down the place. And eventually, I'll make friends with people who are comic book fans also, right? And again, it's my little sample size. But even when I look up people online or stuff, I notice there's sort of even a disconnect between how our fandom was for the cartoons and stuff we grew up with, right? Like, I see a lot of people, they talk about the Justice League cartoon, and they're remembering things incorrectly, right? So I'm a huge fan of it. Or not, I gotta be careful with saying because I always bash it, right? Because I don't like it when it leans too heavy towards Batman, right? But I've watched them a lot over the years, and watched them more recently because we've been working on stuff and going to kind of revisit them and things. And people remember things differently. They remember things taking place in a different manner. And I remember being a kid, the X-Men cartoon was just like the coolest cartoon ever. It was amazing. But could you really pick out the major storylines, and could you really remember what storyline took place first? And after a while, it gets to be a bit blurry, right?
Right.
And so that's why I think even with single-issue comics and stuff, this is the thing that I thought it would last a little longer. The fans would go crazy because we're used to going every month, every week to a comic book shop, picking up the new issues, picking up they took all the issues, put them into a large book and the omnibus stuff, right? Where it's like all these stories done under a certain period of time, right? We're used to that. We're used to Jeff Johns is on Superman with John Romita, great artist, great writer, right? And now it's Patrick Zurcher is going to get on Superman now, and then somebody else is writing it, right? We're used to that. Movie fans aren't. It's a big deal when a James Bond changes. It's a big deal. It's a big deal when a new actor becomes Superman. Right. It's going to be a huge deal when a new actor becomes Iron Man and Captain America. Right? The movie-going audience, the movie world is different than that. And Green Lantern, people pan on this movie too much, and they miss the point that a lot of early reviews were mixed, but they're leaning more positive from very early reviews, especially from comic book fans. There are comic book fans, you can look around the internet, there are comic book fans that said it was better than Iron Man, which I think it's close to Iron Man in some ways, but nowhere near as good overall, right?
Right.
But you can find the video, go up and look it up, right? And also, it made a decent amount of money up front. At that time period, in that area that it existed in, that time frame it existed in, it made a good amount of money up front. The comic book fans alone are such a huge genre. We can carry these films forward. But I think the days of every other film is like, I don't think you're going to see for a while what the Avengers did, followed by what Iron Man 3 did. $1 billion and $1 billion and like overnight and still going unbelievable amounts of money. I don't think you're going to see that. You're not going to see. And comic book fans, unfortunately, I think we're a part of this problem because every comic book, I realize how stupid we all sound. Every comic book movie that comes out now, it's the greatest movie that's ever been made. This is the greatest. Well, you just said that one was the greatest movie there. Deadpool's the greatest. You just said Batman Superman's the greatest. You just said the Captain America. You just said the last two.
Nobody said that about Batman vs Superman.
Well, some people.
You say it.
Well, I'm close to saying it. Some people have, but I mean, well, that's my point though. It's like, and I know people say, well, don't pay attention to the idiots out there that are on their island. But I'm sorry, the loudest voice always wins. The loudest voice wins. We're a working society. We don't have time to sit down and study this stuff as much as, all the geeks are. And even the geeks who love this stuff don't have time to study movie politics and understand it's the loudest voice. That's why everybody runs to Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes says it's fresh. Rotten Tomatoes says it's rotten. They'll stand by that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I don't even want to really go into that because that whole thing is stupid. Because, what's rotten? If you look at a Rotten Tomatoes review, a positive review could be considered rotten just because it's not like a C.
Yeah.
A C's good, but it'll sometimes get pushed to rotten. And so you get enough C's that's like, yeah, that's a good movie. It's not going to say, yeah, it's a good movie. Everyone's say, that movie sucked.
Yeah.
It's rotten. Look how that. So I'm not a fan of those. But, no, superhero fatigue is totally real. Here's a case in point. Do you remember that they did a Doctor Strange movie a long time ago, 70s, I think, on TV movies? Did you know that they did that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So back then, I don't remember if I watched it. I remember I wanted to watch it when I was little. I was very excited for it. So the idea of a real-life a big-budget Doctor Strange movie, in theory, I would have been like, yeah, but for me, it's to the point where it's like, no, I don't think I'm gonna watch it. I think I'm gonna wait till DVD or Blu-ray to decide if I watch it. It's gonna depend on what you say, what another of my friends say, from you guys, trusted sources here. If I am told from trusted sources that you got to see it, you got to check it out, then I might watch it. But right now, Doctor Strange is kind of on the.
Here's the thing.
Probably gonna pass on it.
I think Marvel knows that because that trailer for Doctor Strange is otherworldly. Seeing that trailer on the big screen was there are very few things that ever make my jaw drop. But some of those, I don't know how many trailers there are, which cuts you get. It can vary sometimes. But I saw the one where it shows him, where they talk about there's another world, and it looks like Blade Runner mixed with Knights of the Old Republic video game world, mixed with Inception, mixed with The Matrix, mixed with Batman. It just looks like this, holy, I just got to see this. Just to see it, literally to see it, And I think it not only fits the character, but they knew they'd have to get to that at some point. That's not a good movie to introduce the Marvel Universe with.
Right.
Right? And this is what I've been saying all along, is that, I mean, the fatigue can be there, but as a superhero comic book fan, I think now, for a lot of us that have been on the sideline with Marvel, that's why I said I think we'll get off the sideline now. We'll say, okay, this is kind of more what I wanted. The question is, how bad does the fatigue set in that they did what they had to do to reestablish these characters in the public consciousness? Where do you go from here, right?
Well, see, here's the thing. I think as much as the fatigue is real, I don't think it's going to hurt things like Doctor Strange. Yeah. I don't think it will. For me, it does because it's it looked interesting. I wasn't blown away by the trailer. And I saw those things, okay, yeah, but it didn't make me say, I got to see this. But I think here's the key thing where fatigue sets in. And I think Deadpool's the perfect example of it. Fatigue is going to set in on the major characters. That's why when you say Justice League's going to do crazy numbers or Spider-Man's going to do crazy numbers, I'm not sure because those are the headliners. Those are the main acts. Those are the ones that people are going to be like, another one? So that's why I'm not so sold on those. I think fatigue, unfortunately, sets in on the main event, on the main stars. The headline acts are going to be the ones that get the bad end of the fatigue because other people...
you have to give Marvel credit, though, because they've made it clear we're not really sure if there's going to be another Iron Man solo film.
Right. And I don't think there is.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's supposed to be in Spider-Man, right?
Flip-flopping, yeah, he's going to be in Spider-Man. They're flip-flopping on that of there's going to be another one. I remember for the longest time he had made it clear, no, there's not another one. Then I think just
depends on money.
I think recently it's been maybe, So yeah, it's always going to depend on money. But
I'll tell you what happened to Robert Downey Jr. He always wanted to run off and do personal projects and go win an Oscar and stuff. He did that film, was it The Judge, right? He saw the tracking numbers come in low. And it was like, well, Iron Man, we can do another one. We do Iron Man 4.
Right, and then...
But look at it this way, too. Pepper Potts is not in this film. Gwyneth Paltrow's not in this film. They wrote her out fairly creatively, but in previous films, they would have pushed her in there.
Right.
I think that was a money-saving thing. I think they just didn't want to pay Gwyneth Paltrow's salary.
I think so.
Or whatever her fee is for that.
Right, but then, that's the thing right there, and it's a smart one because, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. It's really Avengers 3, but it's Captain America, so why do you need Pepper Potts in it? But, like I said, it's really Avengers 3, so yeah. But, no, I see fatigue hurting the well-known characters. I see it hurting Superman, Batman, Justice League, possibly Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, everything's going to hurt Superman.
Yeah. Well, that's the crappy thing is you look at the numbers, and my brother points this out a lot. It's like, these numbers that it did, these are great for Superman. For a Superman movie. These are great numbers. Yeah. It's the problem is that for a Batman movie, they're not great numbers, and on top of that, Batman and Superman is where you get people like, oh, this was a flop or whatever. But if it was just like, if you took it as a Superman movie, these are better numbers than Superman's ever done. But yeah, and that's the thing. He has the biggest fatigue factor because a lot of people, they see Superman and they just think, I don't know. I don't like going into that because I judge people on their thoughts on Superman. I judge people by their thoughts on Superman. Oh, you don't like Superman? You must be a piece of shit. But no,
you don't support the Allies winning World War II.
Yeah, and then it's like
yeah, I know. I sometimes I look at it in black and white terms, right?
Yeah,
like when somebody tells me Superman, I'm like,
you must not be a good person then. But yeah, it's just things like that. And like I said, Deadpool is where I think it's a perfect example. Jeez, I'm just looking at my readings right now, and it's like, am I really here? And
yeah, have you noticed that I'm kind of playing with myself here, seeing how the chips are louder than you are?
Yeah,
I'm like,
and so
it's like down here. Then I'm like,
yeah. So Deadpool is like for me a clear indication of that because he's not a well-known hero. At least he wasn't a well-known hero to the general audience, and so I think that's a lot of why everyone talks about how great the movie is. Because they don't know who Deadpool is, so now they see Deadpool, and they think, what a creative new way to do a superhero movie.
Yeah.
It's not a creative new way to do a superhero movie. They're keeping it true to the character. That's it. It's not like, oh, this is some creative stuff. No, that's his character. And so that's why when I saw that review like about X-Men, like, oh, Deadpool proves, and it's like, no, Deadpool didn't prove anything. They proved if you stay true to a character, it works usually. That's all it does. It's not like, oh, you needed to be like Deadpool. No, because they're not Deadpool.
Can Deadpool save the X-Men? Do you think if they throw, they want to do X-Force and all this stuff supposedly, eventually if they mix it with the X-Men, you think they can milk that?
Yeah.
Wolverine 3 supposedly is rated R now.
Yeah.
That's just straight up, there's no question that's a straight up Deadpool thing.
It is. It's absolutely a Deadpool thing. And I think we're going to see that it's not going to, I don't think it's going to help it any more than it would. Because people know Wolverine. And so even with a rated R one, it's not going to be like, oh man, this and that. It's going to be like, okay, it's another Wolverine movie. I think the key thing is they don't know Deadpool. So when Deadpool came out and nobody knew what they were getting with Deadpool, that's what blew everything away. Like, holy crap, this is great. Yeah.
So you're saying we should be blaming Deadpool for the fall of everything.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No.
Alrighty then.
No. But, say but a lot.
It's okay, I edit those out.
Okay, cool.
It's tedious, but yeah. It's okay. No, nobody can hear you when you say.
Shows up on the phone. So we have.
You notice how I skew everything your side?
Yeah. So we have Doctor Strange coming out of that. Like I said, it doesn't really do anything for me visually, but I could see that people are going to want to check it out because it is quite impressive visually. So
you know what does something for me visually?
What?
Aunt Bay.
Oh, jeez. So if we go to Doctor Strange, if it's good, that might that'll be a successful one. The problem is the main characters. I think that's where it's going to get hurt.
Well, again, I think Marvel's smarter than all of us, or Disney. Because what's the next Thor movie?
I don't know, what is it?
Thor and the Hulk are teaming up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. I knew Hulk was supposed to be in it, but I didn't know there was a team-up thing.
Yeah, the way Civil War was more a tribute in name to this movie. That's what they said. Thor Ragnarok is going to be just a tribute to kind of Planet Hulk. There'll be some Planet Hulk elements, but they're not going to go crazy with it. Yeah, for Batman vs. My big thing with Batman vs. Superman, is like we talked about, the thing is that like I really, really waited to see if it was like worth it, if it was going to be any good, because there was a lot, obviously we talked about so much negativity, a lot of it coming from me too, because I had so much. Boy, it's funny how everything turned around on me. I saw that last Civil War trailer and I was like, man, it's just everything you're hearing, all the rumors. DC might actually just screw this up, and Marvel just kicks their. Even I become a Marvel fan, right, and just give up on DC. The hatred and all the waiting and all that stuff, it got so bad, I almost thought that. Over here, I give the film a 0.5 out of 10 after it's all said and done. Love Batman vs. Superman. But yeah, I was waiting to see.
Oh, that is right. How could I forget?
What's that?
A little bit of satisfaction out of your hatred for Civil War. No, I just remembered right now when you mentioned that when you saw that last Civil War trailer,
yeah,
you texted me about how, oh no, this is like, I can't believe it, but I'm worried about what DC's doing because what they have here, it looks so great, or whatever. And I remember seeing it and be like, yeah, it's cool. I don't know what you're talking about. And then here it is, and you hated Civil War.
Well, I mean, the last trailer was like, it was the one where they did the Doomsday and then Wonder Woman, and I liked the trailer, but they went for it all, and I think it flopped, trying to follow up the Comic-Con trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was one or two extra other trailers where they got back to focusing on the fight between them and stuff. And then here's Marvel. Everything in the Marvel Civil War trailer looks good. It looks like a cohesive, straight-up story. The trailer, when it starts off, Buck, they're coming for you, right? And then all the way to the bitter end, right, when Spider-Man shows up. If the movie had followed that's what we were promised. That's not even close to what we got. So I thought, man, Marvel finally figured out they're going to go into the next phase. DC is over here floundering, overreacting. So yeah, Eric Leon gave me a ton of crap about that too. He won't let me forget it either. But I was genuinely worried. So I was like, I'm not going to give $25 per T-shirt and then get all these stupid little vinyl figures. I don't even like them. And then I start collecting them. I'm going to want to collect all the vinyl figures. And because when I was a kid, there were vinyl models for like Star Trek crew. You buy them and you had to paint them yourself. And I'm no good. I learned the hard way. Painfully learned the hard way. I'm no good with models, and I'm no good with my hands. Boy, I'm a disaster, man. I couldn't build. Captain Kirk went up with his head up his ass. The Batmobile lost the wheel for real. The fin was all up on it. I was like, I'm not a model builder. These vinyl models are this. So like, here's one that's actually built for you. You just collect it, right? So yeah, that. Yeah, my childhood, it's kind of like my childhood thing. I was like, I'm not going to waste money and go through all that stupidity again and stuff, and especially if the movie sucks. And I'm like, yeah, the Batman figure looks good. It's too bad that the whole movie is about Batman. He just slapped Superman up and down the screen. In IMAX, we saw Superman get punched around like a rag doll for 2.5 hours, and then he was just like, you're always going to remember that you're a bitch. Right? It's like, I was like, all right, not doing it. But then more recently, okay. Yeah, so we referenced how comic book fans were used to this kind of change and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes from the fact that you go to the comic book store every Wednesday for New Comic Book Day. You go to the comic book store, to pick up whatever it is you're looking for or whatnot. Basically, what we like to call merchandise.
Yes.
Where fanboy wallets go to die.
Yes.
And yours, sir, has been buried in a cemetery and cremated at the center of just about every comic book store.
It's been no, that's not true. I don't get a lot of the merchandise from the comic book stores. They're mostly just other stores that has a bunch of things. Yes, I have.
Well, they're kind of overpriced.
Yeah, comic book stores?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. They're kind of grossly overpriced. That's why I usually don't get things there.
I know. I'm a horrible person. I'm the opposite. When they're like, visit your local comic book store and shop, I'm like, man, go on Amazon, get that.
Yeah, it's like especially when it comes to Batman versus Superman, I do have quite the collection of Batman vs Superman items.
Yeah, we're actually going to do a whole show on this.
It'll involve pictures too.
Yeah, we're going to build up to this.
To that.
Yeah, very, very visual show. We're going to build up to this here, but.
So last I kept track of my items. Let me pull that up real quick. I'm not going to run through the whole list of what I have. I'll just go over how many items I have, and then maybe a couple of things on it.
Yeah, a couple of highlights.
Yeah, a couple little highlights here and there. So I had the last count was 76 plus items.
76 items?
Yeah, 76.
You go for 76 in a row?
I got 76 items of Batman versus Superman stuff. So that's the action figure line. And what would
he didn't pay for a single one of them, so all favors. No.
Oh, I wish that were the case. No, that's retirement money right there. That's gone. I'm going to be looking as an old man on the street like I should have bought these toys. Using them as pillows because I don't have a bed anymore.
You wouldn't use them as pillows and be like, no, I remember the original retail price.
Yeah, so I had 76 counting, and it is counting. I just yesterday bought some new merchandise to add to that. So,
I can ask you a question though. I don't necessarily know anybody. I've heard anybody ever ask this. I mean, why the collecting? What inspires it?
I have no real idea. It's just like, hey, this looks cool. I gotta get it. I know at some point there was the idea of maybe getting it and then down the line, hey, maybe it'll be worth something.
Yeah.
It's also to the point though where I realized that's probably not going to happen in my lifetime. Yet I continue to get it. That's why I was like, I don't really know why, because I don't think I'm going to get anything out of this other than losing money. Money and be like, this looks cool.
Yeah, you do. You don't buy something that's like, I don't really like this, but I'm going to add it.
No. If I get it, it's because it actually in some way appeals to me. In some way is the emphasis like
You know what appeals to me in some ways? Aunt Bay.
Aunt Bay. Yeah, you're going to say that. Could you imagine, have you seen those hot toys from Japan? Those 12-inch ones, super likeness.
Let everybody know I'm looking at my fingers from the potato chips, not from what I'm thinking.
No, I don't believe that. I think he's getting where I'm going to, and it's like, what if they make an Aunt May one or an Aunt Bay one?
Listen, I got a 12-inch figure for Aunt Bay. No.
Anyways. Oh no.
So
no, I walked into that. Didn't want to go there. No.
So anyways,
like Darth Vader at the end of Revenge of the Sith.
Got a little flashlight on it. No.
Oh no.
Little Spider-Man flashlight.
Oh no.
Oh no. I unintentionally cracked a joke earlier, and I was like, yeah, wish she was my Aunt Bay. You were like, oh, gross, and I thought to myself, you know what? It makes sense. You know why? My cousin Vinny.
Nicely done. Give him a round of applause, everybody. Give him a round of applause.
Thank you.
But that was something. I was going to ask. I was going to say, actually, you yourself are.
As we're doing this, you're staring at my box collection, but I know I'm over here talking to you it's like, what's wrong with you? No.
I was going to say, you yourself, you're kind of obviously not as much as me, but you're kind of building up a little bit of a collection yourself on Batman vs Superman, weren't you?
Oh, okay, Batman vs Superman, yeah. Yeah.
Where did you think I was going with that?
No, I thought you were just like, well, I've seen you post pictures on Instagram.
No,
it's a cute little collection. I mean, you're second best on you see, but not bad. One day you'll be good for me. See? No, but because just on the other side of this wall here, oh man, there's stuff that goes back to the 80s, really, in terms of action figures and toys and whatnot. But yeah, so finally when the movie was good, I started collecting. And like you said, it was just more, for the first time in a long time, I had some serious pride for what DC was working on. So I could wear it. I love the Batman versus Superman logo now because it represents this film that I thought absolutely rocked its socks off, right? So that's why, that's why I would look at it that way. And now I start getting all kinds of pretty much every T-shirt that there is to get. You know, with it's got the logo, the same logo, but it's a different color shirt or a different color logo.
The bat on here is yellow this time.
Pretty much gray and green. Right. I don't know where green came from, but so I started to collect that, and then there were a few things though I didn't get. Like for example, what you got sitting in front of you right there, because I was like, well, if he's got it, I'll get a copy from him, right?
Yes.
How did this? You want to tell the story about this?
There's a story to this? I don't remember.
Well, I mean, look at it. It's beautiful.
Yes, it's a fantastic little soundtrack we have here.
Yeah, for Batman versus
Superman, I have the deluxe edition.
But see, oh no, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it comes with a little mini poster.
Yeah, the little mini poster.
Mini poster.
Well put together. Here's my thing. Though. You were talking about me earlier, so let me turn around on you. I remember you were talking about. I think it was your cousin or your brother that were on Twitter. And they're like, Hans Zimmer's leaving. Good, because he can't write a superhero theme to save his life, right? And I remember you were like, I think, did I remember wrong? You mostly, for the most part, agreed?
Yeah, no, I 100% agreed.
Yeah.
I wasn't like good, and he wasn't like good. He was like, I mixed because he did awesome music, but he can't do a theme. He doesn't have a theme for these heroes.
So some people might say, okay, yeah, but then here's the soundtrack. It's in your hands. You paid, what, $17 plus for it, maybe?
Yep. No. I got it on sale. It was like, I don't remember how much. It was under 17.
Well, there you go. Not bad. But I mean, so I think that's what confuses people about fans.
Right.
The same way that I just said 1 out of 10. Oh, but I own the DVD or something. But like, why'd you pay $24 for something that's a 1 out of 10? So like, here's your turn now. I mean,
well, I don't think this is nearly as confusing. I said he doesn't do a good theme for the heroes. Well, I stand by that. There's a lot of songs on here that have good music overall. Like. Let's see. My favorite is.
Let me see here. Nothing.
This is my world. Okay. That's the pivotal one we played.
That's the part that made you cry in the theater, right?
Indeed it did. And tracks like that. I mean, is there a powerful Superman theme in that? No, there's not.
Oh, hey, wait. Hold on. Time out. Are we out of our black champagne? There we are.
No, we are not.
All right.
Black
We're gonna do some Coke here first. Give me some Coke. All right.
It would be better if you couldn't hear it being poured, which you might not. So you might think we're cutting. But
that's the baking soda getting into it, folks. No.
So it's like worry. Overall, there's no big Superman theme because he didn't do a big Superman theme. But the music on it, I enjoyed the music for the movie. It's just I wish Superman would have a theme.
If you didn't care that much for the music, would you still bought it?
Yeah. And you know why I would have? Because it's a Batman versus Superman soundtrack. Not only that, but I also bought it before I saw the movie, so it's not.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. So now, did you listen to everything before the movie came out?
I did. So,
did that tip you off at all? See, I'm one of those guys. I stopped doing that.
It did. This is my world. For some reason, just going into this when it was announced. That was in the back of my head, and yes, we're going to go into spoilers. I'm sure you know by now, but just in case, another warning.
If you don't know the spoilers by now, then you think the movie sucks, and
right?
You didn't bother with it.
And not only that, but if you're listening to this, you had to have already caught the other one, so it's discussed there. But the track, this is my. For some reason, before I go to that, when they first did this movie, I kind of thought, what if in the second movie they kill Superman? Just like because it's something that has been toyed with forever.
Yeah.
And so, when we had the track listing, This Is My World, already you knew it's either going to be some big dramatic moment.
Where he stands his ground and says, "This is my world." That's what you thought?
Or something, well, it might not even be that. Just like it might be a dramatic, here we go, he's risking his life to... I remember some thing where saying they had the track list, and it's like, it basically gives away the movie if you read the names of the titles. And their thought, and This Is My World, it's like, here's where he makes some kind of big gesture to prove himself to Batman, and that. And so, some big self-sacrificing event would happen.
Yeah.
Now, I did listen to when they came out, I listened to the tracks.
Turns out he was really having sex with Lois Lane. You're my world. Boom, boom, boom. This is my world right here, baby.
Okay. So, I when they came out, when it leaked, I didn't hesitate to listen to it because two things. I don't feel so bad about it because I knew I was buying the soundtrack. So I felt like I can listen to it early. I'm going to buy it anyways. I did. I'm probably going to buy the vinyl on it too. We'll see. I am thinking about doing that, but probably not for myself.
I'm going to buy the vinyl for my vinyl player after I buy the wax for my beard and my stovetop pipe.
Yep. No, but when I listened to it and then I heard This Is My World, or even before I listened to the full track, just from listening to like the little snippets, it's like, okay, I started getting an idea of like, yes, this is definitely a self-sacrificing thing.
Now, did you think heavily, okay, he's going to die, or did you think to yourself, like the, well, sort of like Iron Man, the Avengers, they're going to fake his death?
I was still torn in between. I knew more than likely it would probably be something like that.
Yeah.
But then, as I said, even way back when, what if they kill him? So that was always in the back of my head. When we listened to when the full soundtrack leaked, we listened to it. When This Is My World hit, I was like, at that time, like 96% sure that he was gonna that they were killing him off.
Yeah,
because of that track. I was like, this doesn't sound good. This doesn't sound good for him. Sounds like he's gonna go.
What else stood out to you when you first listened to it?
The Batman theme, which was not done by Hans Zimmer. He has a theme. Hans Zimmer did not do it because he has a theme. That's a key thing.
Yeah, well, Hans Zimmer did say, I've done Batman, so
I'm not going to do him again. I'll let this guy do it. And that guy did and gave him a theme. Because Hans Zimmer wouldn't give him a theme. Give him a couple of musical notes.
Returns, right? I've done Superman.
Yeah.
Covered him. So composed for Batman.
Yeah, so it was like, those stood out to me. Let me see if there was another one. Must There Be a Superman stood out to me. That one was a weird one because most of these things, they link to when they play in the movie.
Yeah.
Like Beautiful Lie, that's the opening.
Yeah, and then that infamous. Have you gotten around to seeing that again, by the way? We're going to segue for a second.
I did, and no, I don't know what it's talking about.
I'm telling you, we're like 7 episodes in, and almost a month or so past this movie came out. So apparently neither one of us still know what Bruce Wayne is talking about at the beginning of that movie. And then there was a time above, and then things fall.
This, that, and that.
Yeah, diamond absolutes, but things fall. This is my favorite part, but things that fall are fallen. What the?
What are you talking about, Bruce?
Yeah, the dream. They took me to the white light, the beautiful lie. Okay.
Yeah, so like I was saying, a lot of these things, the beautiful lie, that their war here. Obviously, when Bruce is running through Metropolis and you see Zod and Superman.
Did you pick up on that their war here was going to mean?
Yeah.
That was going to be the beginning.
Yeah, I figured that.
They use the same theme from.
It's the same theme in there, so you knew what it was going to be.
Okay.
I remember because when that leaked, when they first started leaking samples of the songs.
Yeah.
And it wasn't leaked because it was officially released.
Yeah.
Snippet.
It was a preview.
They put out the preview for that one, and I was like disappointed. And on one hand, it was like, awesome, a preview of the soundtrack. It's basically the song we heard in Man of Steel.
All the others are reused.
So it's like, okay, that's not ideal. Ideally, they would have put out the Batman theme as the first thing they do, but it wasn't. They put out that, which was a song for Man of Steel. So it was like, on one hand, cool. You know where they're going with this. You know this is going to be a shot from that scene where he's running through Metropolis and all that. But at the same time, it's like, but you leaked out basically what you already had. And then, Red Capes are coming. That's obviously the Lex theme.
Now, how did you overall react to Lex Luthor's theme?
I liked his theme.
Yeah?
Yeah, I liked it. I don't know if I prefer it or which I prefer between that one and the Superman Returns Lex Luthor theme.
Oh, I don't think there's any for me. I don't think there's any contest. I think this one is far superior.
I like
in every
this
way.
one a lot. I like the other one too. That one was a little more.
Well, I mean, it's just a couple of notes.
Classic cartoony-ish though, but
I mean, it's a couple of notes in Superman. Dun, 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 dun,
dun,
dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, and that's it.
Day of the Dead. That matches where that plays when he first takes off to go to the Day of the Dead, and then the whole montage that plays out.
Oh, you brought that up too. Somebody else brought up in the Facebook group. They were like, yeah, maybe next time they'll show Superman saving people instead of people's reaction to him afterwards. And I was thinking about what you were saying. Like,
that was like one of the little things. Like I said, I love that scene. Yeah. I just would have loved it more if we saw him actually do those things.
So now on record, 2 people in the world wrong about that scene. No.
3. I told you my brother said it.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
3 people. But
So anyway, yeah.
But then there's Must There Be a Superman, which is not linked to that, because Must There Be a Superman is mentioned on the track where they do Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
And so when I first heard that one, I didn't know what's going on, because it's playing...
Yeah.
It's basically, Must There Be a Superman is the Nightmare Batman part, where they turn on him and they start gunning down his people. That's what Must There Be a Superman is. And so that was way off from the movie. It's like, wait, that has nothing to do with that. But...
Move it real quick before you were in between sentences. So anyways. There you go. Okay, keep going.
Alright, so then that was one of the only ones that like threw me off when it happened, but that was one of the ones that stood out to me because of how crazy it sounded. You knew something, it was like, oh crap, something's happening here.
Yeah.
And your mind only goes a certain way with the title of it. It's like, Must There Be a Superman, and then this crazy sound or whatever is happening. It's like, what's happening?
So now, as a part of you know, like I said, this is part of the fandom for stuff they're collecting. I mean, does it just... I mean, like I said, it's just like anything else. And you got an average guy, might go to work, might come home, might pick up anything from classical music to some old school records, right? Maybe to some... You see it in movies, right? Somebody will go buy some classic, you know, vinyl record, come home, pop the movie in, or pop the thing in.
That does that. He randomly will go out and then like get classic records.
Yeah. Is that part of the whole thing? It's just like, yeah, it's just my little fandom version of it. Come home, pop in the CD, or listen, or, you know, play the soundtrack, I should say. Listen to the soundtrack, you know, play with my little figures. No, but I mean, you know, or is it
Here goes Batman, here comes Superman.
Oh no, Scrapsta, yes, Scrapsta, you are the no, yes.
Hey, how did you know about that?
Yeah, yes, princess, yes.
How did you know about that?
Oh, your helmet is so big. So anyway, but did you see anything? No, sir, I didn't see you playing with your toys. So anyways, I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes. But anyways, what the hell? Yeah, but is that just part of it? I mean, come home, maybe read a comic book, got the music playing. I mean, like I said, I'm just for the...
No,
I think sometimes people think the fandom is just so weird. Like, why would you listen to the soundtrack? And what do you... I mean, that's what they think. Do you go home and do you put your Batman mask on? Do you light the eyes up and you're like, tell me, do you read? You will. And then you read the Batman issue 39, you know.
Yes, I do all of that. No, I don't do it. I do listen to it sometimes on the way home, but for the most part, this kind of just sits in the case because it's on my phone.
Because I've always talked about it with people too. It's like I think they think there's something different about the fandom. It's like my family. I come from a family that were obsessed with the hot rods and classic cars and stuff. Actually, they're just funny. Just on the other side of this wall here, like I said, you see where all these boxes are, where these ancient 80s and 90s toys and comic books and collectible cards, you name it, it's all there. Well, it's all next to some classic hot rods that belong to my mother, belong to my father and stuff, right? It's the same thing. They used to go to car shows in their day and get together and drive down. Nowadays, this generation get together to go to Comic-Con, Dragon Con, you know.
Right.
Whatever it is. There's a con for everything nowadays, right? Literally. And, so it's the same thing. You come home, listen to the Rolling Stones, maybe go out and work on the car or something. You yourself, you're an artist, might come home, play the soundtrack, do some artwork maybe.
That's usually what happens, yeah. I usually, if I'm going to do some art, I usually do put on a soundtrack depending on the time of period, whenever depending on what it is. Like, I'm going to work on a superhero thing or Superman thing. Yeah. I will put it on Superman stuff. Feel the inspiration going from the music. Yeah.
Now, so were you like me too with the clothes? I mean, is it just more like, I don't care, I just like the shirt, I'm going to wear it? Or are you more like, I will proudly identify myself with this giant Superman T-shirt, or this giant S on my chest. And like again, like some people rep their stuff, right? You go out there, you wear a football jersey because I'm repping the Niners, right, or something. Right? Is that way for you? Or is it just more like whatever, man? It's just a T-shirt. It's just a Superman S on it.
That's the funny part. It's pretty much for me, like whatever. Like I like this character. I like this shirt, so I'm gonna wear it. It's like apparently at work it has become like an identifying thing with it's like I went to Walmart and they had this Batman shirt. Yeah. It was a red one and it's like a blueprint of the Batmobile. So I wore that to work one time and then one of my coworkers, he saw me and was like, now, would you say you're more of a Batman fan or a Superman fan? And I'm like, I'm more of a Superman fan. It's like, yeah, here you are wearing a Batman shirt. Like Like if that's an identifying, I'm a Batman guy because I have a Batman shirt on.
It was the same thing, like you said, Rolling Stones.
Right. And I was just kind of like, well, it's a cool shirt, so I'm wearing it. I'm a bigger fan with Superman.
I know. I talk to my family. It's a lot. Some of the family they get angry at it. You know, because they're defensive, which is funny. They're calling me the little whiny fanboy, but they're defensive. But look, you guys are all about Chevy versus Ford. My generation is Marvel versus DC. You know,
right?
As branding goes, right?
Right.
You know, Superman versus Batman. Well, that's, you know, the Rolling Stones, Superman, which is better than the Beatles and Batman. No, I'm just kidding. So, anyways, I just throwing that out there.
You're wrong, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's more like Superman.
I know you're a Batman stan. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Throw you under the bus. No, but yeah. So, what was I going to say? I mean, it doesn't happen with me too much. I think people are just afraid of me in general. You know, they don't want to mess with me when I'm walking down the street, right? But
okay.
Yeah, I never get much comments. I see people look, and then I can tell they want to say something, and they just kind of think better of it. I don't know why. You know, maybe they think this guy's probably stupid. You know, I like to believe they're just like, this guy will break my neck if I say the wrong thing, so they just, out of respect and fear, they run away. I'm assuming it's that more than anything.
Right on. Okay.
But, yeah, you know, so, I mean, but what about some of the other stuff that you started collecting? Like you said, you got the figures and stuff. I mean, what else do you got that's like, I know... Well, we'll leave that for the big episode because I know that's kind of a funny one, maybe slightly embarrassing, but
yes, that will save for the pictures and whatnot.
But I mean, what do you think is like not the weirdest thing? What do you think is the thing you collect that would be the most unexpected thing? Like even you and your family don't expect you to collect it.
That's a tricky one. I think any of those 12-inch ones, because those are basically dolls.
Yeah.
Which kind of leads to the mysterious one that'll happen later. But,
yeah.
Those, because they do kind of borderline traditionally as like dolls. A lot of the times, most of the toys are known like 3 to 6 inches tall.
Yeah.
And then the dolls are the ones that go like 12 inches or whatever. And so I do have some of those 12-inch ones that came out. They had like the fancy Mattel ones that had like, it's basically just a blown up version of their 6-inch toys. And they have the 12-inch one. So I had the Batman and Superman one of those. Outside of even the movie, I had like a Robin one. So those kind of like, yeah, just maybe a little weird, like, oh, aren't those dolls? No. These are.
Yeah.
Went to that later. But yeah, things like that, because for some people, it'll be like, isn't that a doll?
So, you know, I was gonna ask you too, like, you know, we were talking about all this stuff, and I think you've done some artwork, and I thought we'd close out with this. So you've done some artwork. I mean, did it just start off something you started doodling and you realized you're pretty good, or did you just say to yourself, one day I'm going to be John Romita, you know, the next generation, right? I mean, how did that start for you? Was it just doodling or?
Just doodling.
Yeah. A
lot of it was just like, I don't know, I want to draw. Yeah. And then past this time, as we were talking, you see I do a lot of Spider-Man heads on the snowpack.
Now, did you realize, hey, that's pretty good, or did somebody tell you, hey, kid, pretty good?
I guess the pretty good part, or hey, pretty good, is usually from people.
Yeah.
Like I never sit there and think, oh, this is good. Like the most I usually think is, this is all right. This is pretty decent. And a lot of times it'll be someone else that sees it like, oh, that's real good. Like I remember I had, like, I don't remember when, a long time ago I was a kid, my mom enrolled me in some like art class, like in summertime.
Yeah.
I don't remember why. It was just a random, like, here, go to this. And I was
I'm sure you were a ruthless killer. It was keep you off the streets from hurting people.
Yeah, obviously. It was like I was bad news, so they had to get me off of the streets.
Killed 5 people.
Even at a young age, I was a dangerous man.
Yeah.
So I remember one of the things we were supposed to do was like create a comic book character, and here's one of the things where it's like I don't think it was whatever, but I remember I got in and I just basically did like a Batman Spider-Man hybrid.
Yeah.
It was like, to me, even looking back now, I was like, ugh, this is so cheap and tacky. What the hell? It was basically like, I'm going to do a quick drawing of it. You won't be able to see it, unfortunately, but I'll show him. It was basically Batman, but with a lot of Spider-Man influences to it.
Yeah, so you had the little black lines along the suit and no.
Oh, again on the black lines, huh? All right.
A little less traditional Spider-Man suit, right? My Spider-Man was mixed with Batman, but it looked more traditional than Tom Holland's suit with the black lines. But anyways, so fast forward all these years. I mean, again, was it just a hobby? Like I remember you telling me that. Well, I can do things digitally now. I can do them on the computer, or I can do them with. So did you just slowly learn?
Yeah,
as a hobby.
I slowly just learned as in like, because I always wanted to do it better, or make and a lot of times, some of the stuff you see now, a lot of it has a lot of digital in it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, that looks cool. So I kind of wanted to pick that up. Like, I want to try and do that for myself too. Like, I want to learn. See, I don't remember what the whole costume looked like, but essentially just a cheap thing like that. It was like a blue suit, a Batman suit with Spider-Man eyes.
That is crazy.
And then he had his.
Those would be gold colored sunglasses, right? No, I'm just kidding.
They were yellow though.
Were they?
They were yellow.
There you go. See,
they
probably stole from you. You didn't realize
the suit was like blue for the most part.
Yeah.
I remember one of the other things I remember was the cape. It was like the Batman cape was a blue Batman cape. The inside was red with webbing.
This is pretty good. He just doodled this right now. And I'm telling you, this thing looks like it's ready to go to print. Like, this looks like... if the lips move, I could hear Kevin Conroy's voice coming out of it. It's got the Batman chin, but yeah, the look is very, very Michael Keaton / mixed with Spider-Man eyes. That's crazy.
Yeah, so it was just like... For me, I didn't think too much in it. Looking back, I hate it.
Yeah.
But... Because to me, it just seems so, like, cheap. Like, oh, Spider-Man and Batman together.
Yeah.
But I do remember they had a day where they had where you can bring your parents in. I didn't have mine come in, but I don't think I told them about it. I could be wrong, but I think I didn't tell them about it. And so then I remember one kid had brought his dad to look at it, and he had told him, I don't remember what he told him, but I don't remember if it was the way the dad said it, or maybe he straight up told him right there, this is the one I was telling you about. And this is the guy. So apparently my artwork had
attracted some attention.
Done something that he was telling his dad about it. So it was like, oh, that's cool. God, I wish I didn't lose that thing, because I had to create like a profile for the character. And
now, what did you call it? Spider Pig Bat?
No, I don't remember what it was called. Spider Demon Bat Spider. No, I don't remember, but something.
The Arachbat. The Arachnabat.
No.
So anyways.
I don't remember, but...
You just got your own character right there, man. You can get sued by both companies.
I know. And then say, no, it's neither of them. It's just a parody guy. Yeah. No.
It's Birdman. It's a bird costume. No. So now fast forward a little bit. I actually fast forward a lot. So then me and you were in a parking lot a couple months ago. And I bring this idea up to you.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if it was that you said, well, I can draw, or if I said, well, you draw. I don't remember how it started. But this little independent idea that I had floating for a while, it got spurred because I saw a major comic book company revamp a major comic book character, and it insulted me down to my utter spine, down to deep in my soul. I felt a pit of like disrespect, and so I decided to say, well, let me just turn this into inspiration, right? So I designed this little character or whatever, and literally it started off at the top of my head. And then I started giving you the info on it. I want to know, like. Well, one, do you remember who started the conversation first about getting you on it?
You.
It was me. Okay, so it was me. Okay, so but did I just say, hey, you can draw, can you do this? Or did I say, you believe what they did, man? You and me need to get together. I don't remember how it started.
You said you wanted to know if I could draw it. I had no idea that someone had done something that offended you to your core, that you needed inspiration. So you just said it right now. And I was sitting here like, wait, what? What happened?
Yeah.
I'm over here like, who did they revamp that?
Well, we had very selectively talked about what to say and what not to say, so I left that part out because I felt that was too much of a skew. I didn't want you to go on like a social justice hunt for me, right? Because the reason that character got so turned around is because those professionals, quote unquote professionals, were on a social justice hunt. So I left that part out purposely. Because I didn't want you to do that. I didn't want you to be like, oh, yeah, because look, here's a little shot to them,
Right.
Like, I didn't want to affect you that way. So the second thing is then, how did you feel when I asked you, would you do it? Would you want to do it? Did you just right off the bat like, sure, yeah, cool? Or was it more like, I don't know, or maybe, or I'll say, sometimes
it's tricky how I thought on it, because one part's like, oh, yeah, sure, cool. The other part, it does get a little tricky because I'm like, this is somebody else's vision.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I don't want to kind of like, yeah, here it is, and then this is totally not what I envisioned. So it's always like,
Wait a minute, this is Spider Bat.
I don't know if I want to touch somebody else's thing.
I don't know if I want to touch somebody else's thing either. But
someone else's idea or project. I said in a meeting that
what idea they want to touch.
Immediately I regretted it. I was like, I don't want to touch this person's thing.
I saw you going there too, and I was like, he's not. He did. I don't want to know. I don't want to touch anybody's idea what they got for their thing either. So, well, now that I know that you don't want to touch my thing, we're done for the day.
You should have known that.
Yeah, no, but anyways, what do you call it? Well, now, man, you're over there collecting dolls and stuff. I didn't.
Hey,
thought maybe you were throwing up a flag. No. So, anyways, it's like, yeah, most women will flick their hair. Boys, got to show off the dolls, baby. Yeah. No, anyways, well, that's getting cut out completely. This is just a waste of space. So, anyways, but you know what? You know what thing I want to touch? Aunt Bay. I want to touch all over that thing, and the thing being that like she's like way too young to be a traditional Aunt May, but it's funny. So, anyways, the way that they just said we'll make Marissa Tomei work. We're gonna roll with it. We'll make it work. Is that kind of? Did you finally settle on that? Like, you know what? I'm gonna make this character work. When I asked you to draw the character, I described it to you.
I got distracted on Aunt
you were still thinking about things and Aunt May.
I was thinking Aunt May, as you said. Yeah, it's still, to be honest, I am still, like, going back and forth on it. Like, I'm still, like, I'm still at the drawing stage because of how much I'm like, no, that doesn't feel right to me, and then going back. Is it
more or less than what's doodled on this page here?
It's more.
Okay.
It's more because this is like heads and all that. But that's the thing. It's a lot of the same thing, just different. Like parts of me like,
gold
do I want
sunglasses?
Him? No. I was like, part of me was like, do I want him buff? Here's another thing. I don't remember if we discussed if you wanted him to have like a costume or not. Like I did some where he's like in a costume. Other ones where it's like a costume with like a logo, and I'm like, did he want that? I don't know.
I think I told you something like, make him look like me without having my face or my body.
Right, you did say
I told you something along those lines, right?
I went for the hair. I was like, okay, the
hair.
That's
actually like, I was cracking a joke to you, but I just said the hair is the only thing I want to keep. This insane curly type of hair, Not because I have it either. I just said my hair is similar to the original character in Desperado, who has that kind of wavy curly hair, and that's.
And then that was another reason why I'm kind of like back and forth, because then I did so many words. He's like in street clothes, because I was like, I don't know how he wanted this. So I'm kind of like, I am still sadly, I know we wanted the deadline was already supposed to have happened a while ago, but I am still like running on through so many of these. Like,
we're gonna.
I don't like this.
As we approach Batman vs Superman, we'll start talking about it, and then tax day, we'll square up. Right,
it was supposed to be the plan.
Yeah,
and I'm over here like, no, this isn't working.
No, I definitely didn't want to put any pressure on you at all, because obviously that's no good in any situation. But and then the thing is, like, we were at this point. What was supposed to happen, if I remember correctly, you can correct me if I'm wrong. That I was supposed to show you like a preview of some of the early script ideas, some of the early outlines. That's
what we were meeting up on. I was supposed to get like a preview of what you were writing, and I was supposed to say, well, here's what I have design wise. I believe I was supposed to come up with like 3 shots. One like the profile, the front, side, back. An action shot, or just kind of like, or whatever. I don't remember the third one. That's how much I was stuck on the design. I don't remember the third freaking shot.
Yeah, I know I wanted the action shot. I was thinking more like Man of Steel when they first showed Henry Cavill. It's not really an action shot, but he's obviously he's in front of the bank vault. Right, and so he's like that, and just kind of leaning forward.
I had one where he's kind of like
so it's kind of like
see me, but I was like blocking like if something was in my face.
Yeah, it was like something along those lines. And then I think it was like, I just said for right now, like go for the cheesy one, like people are in the street and they're looking at him up on a rooftop, like if he's Batman or something. I think I went for something cheesy like that, like just to see if it fits the cheesy mold or something, right? But in your mindset now as an artist and being somebody, like I said, you work on these things, takes this thing very seriously. Very, obviously, very, very skilled, very, very crafted skill here, I see. At least from my opinion. Like I said, you just do a little something. It would take me 10 years to even get that right. And then it would still be a stick figure and have two little sticks sticking out of his head instead of having those ears the way you got him, right? But it's like, have you seen the Star Wars Robot Chicken? Where they tell the backstory of the guy that got his arm cut off, he was actually a brilliant artist and stuff. He's like, it's okay, I'm ambidextrous, and it's like a stick figure, it's all lopsided. That's me at my best. That's the best that I could do with art, right? So, anyways, I'm the type of guy to take paint, throw it at a wall, and be like, "There, I'm an artiste." You know?
I'm an artist.
Yeah. So
Look at it.
So anyway, what are you from? Are you from Scovia or what? You sound like,
whatever.
You sound like one of the twins right there. Oh man, did I roll my eyes when she was like, the first time she spoke in the film, when she's like, "Dust, I see people with machine guns." I'm like, "Oh, that's right. The Transylvania accent is back for this." Too many accents.
Was it just me, or did she like go in and out of an accent?
She did that in the Age of Ultron too.
Yeah.
She just, they can't hold it. It's just probably because it's so ridiculous.
I see so many machine
herself.
guns. Here we have this. What the fuck just happened to your accent? God,
man, I just lose the accent, man. She's been with them for a while. She lost the accent.
It's funny because it reminds me of the first X-Men movies. Do you remember?
Yeah,
Halle Berry did that accent in the first one.
Yeah.
After that, she lost it. It was like,
that was worse
horrible.
than Black Panther's accent. Then, by the end of the movie, she was like, "Do you know what happens to a toad?" I guess that's what she fell on the elevator shaft and knocked the accent out of herself.
Yeah.
So, anyways, look, what was I gonna say? Okay, so as an artiste, what part are you at right now? Like, what's your mindset now? And then when I hand you in your hand the script, right, you have it in your hand to look at it. What will be going through your head then? I'm just so curious, so interested in this process.
Okay, that's gonna be interesting. Well, one of the things I'm gonna kind of look at is tone. Obviously, I'm gonna check out like what's going on as far as the action and see if it fits. Yeah. Like I was saying, I was thinking, does he have a costume? Does he not have a costume?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like looking over things, see what he's doing, and see if a costume fits.
So like if I describe the action, it's like this guy needs heavy armor, and you're like he's in a leotard now, so I'm gonna adjust like that kind of thing you're looking for.
Yeah, things like that. And it's also going like I'm also kind of looking for descriptions on like what he can do because on one hand, if he's in heavy action and maybe he's invulnerable to the stuff, maybe he doesn't need it. Maybe we go like maybe you keep him in like jeans and shirt just to kind of have those show his own personal like invulnerability, but maybe those get torn up and stuff because those aren't something that can withstand it. So maybe that's just a part of it.
I feel like Lenny in Superman 4 when he's just like, "Lex, this ain't gonna cover him." The computer will adjust. See, that's why I'm like, the Scrapsta will adjust. Keep the high moral standards that I've always prescribed to. To keep it. In other words, like you said, if he's got jeans. But it's like, I put him in a fire and he comes out shirtless. It's like, it doesn't make any sense for him to have jeans still on.
Right.
He'd be free balling right now, walking around everybody, right? So, I mean, so that basically...
Well, there's ways around that. You just darken up the crotch.
Yeah, he's in the shadow. He's the shadow that
Why does he have a random shadow over his crotch? Well,
Well, yeah.
Whatever.
It casts a shadow, that's why. No, so...
Just thinking about
everything down there casts about 3 or 4 shadows. But no, anyways. So, okay, look, here's the deal. It's like... obviously, you can tell we're talking about a Latino character. No, anyway, so... what was I going to say? Yeah, so, I mean, is that... I mean... I've always wondered, too... I mean... What's the limit, so to speak? Like how you were saying, I don't want to do too much for somebody else's idea. Where are the limits where you say, okay, I won't draw this and I won't design this, is crossing the line, This is crossing the line where I'm defining this character too much compared to what I've been told so far.
I have not come to that yet. It's for me right now, it's like a nervous thing of like, oh, I don't know, because I've never worked on somebody else's idea before. So let's say I were to do something and then I come in and I say, here it is, and it's like way off. Then it might be like, that's the limit. Then. Okay. I won't go that far in doing someone else's work.
Yeah. These twirly tassels on his nipples, a little much. I mean, I get that they have blades on them, but
that was the weapon I was making.
Yeah. I knew it was something. Like, I figured it was like, have you seen these women that they turn themselves into bronies for their boyfriend? The bronies have those little colorful tails.
Oh, jeez. I don't like where this is going.
Yeah. You know what it is?
Oh,
you just gotta plug it in. Plug it in, and she's a brony.
Oh, no. I knew I wasn't gonna like where that was going.
Listen, none of that on the character, okay? None of that. All right.
That's why I didn't like where it's going. I knew I have to.
He's got a tail, and he whips it out. He whips it out and starts hitting everybody.
I
boom,
have a tail.
Boom, boom, knocking everybody out.
Not a tail.
He spins around in a circle. So it's like, Wonder Woman. No. So, anyways, I mean, kind of out of questions. I know I had one more, but I mean, now fair is fair, right? I mean, neither one of us is, I mean, you're certainly not at the level where like a John Romita is at this point, where he's established career and everybody knows you.
I know. I'm so close, but so far.
Yeah. I mean, so I was gonna crack a joke, but just nothing came to mind.
Oh.
So yeah, well, no, I mean that's the thing. It's just like, so I mean, when you look back to my direction, I mean, what are the things? I don't know. I don't want to turn this around and say, well, do you have any questions for me? But I mean, what are the things that you wonder about on my side of it? I'm curious because like I'm seeing if you give me any little hint that I can take and then add, kind of work on the character with it.
That's a good question. I don't know. There's like a lot. Like we had a very generic kind of talk of what this guy is.
Generic? I thought it was specific. No.
Was it too specific? You
I'm
just
offended, sir. No, I was kidding.
He's like, I don't.
Yeah, I think I said, look, I know what I want, but I don't. No.
Right. Yeah. So it was basically that. You said it was kind of like, okay, so
I know what I want.
Wakes
and
up.
like,
He kind of has extraordinary strength, but like what kind of more details? I mean, I guess apparently he needs a weapon, so I'm guessing that means he has no like laser eyes or anything like that. But
well, one of the big things I talked about was like and it doesn't even have not a post-apocalyptic world, but let's just say a collapsed economy.
Right.
If you had a guy who could walk around, he could raid every sporting goods store that he passes. Right. He'd find a lot of stuff in there. He could go into a hardware store and he can get what are tools, and you could fashion tools into weapons, and he could keep some tools to use both as weapons and continue to use them as tools. Like I described that part of it. So that's what I was thinking to myself. I mean, like, did you just Google like hardware store sale and look up, hey, this is what people have in hardware? Do you go looking around Walmart and then you take a trip through the sporting goods section? I mean, is it that? Do you think the research is that important? Is that something that works for you a lot, or do you think more it's like I need to focus on my creativity in my mind right now?
It's mixed. For the most part, it was like mine or looking at other things like post-apocalyptic and like sporting good things. So I actually like looked at a lot of Mad Max.
Uh-huh.
And so I kind of looked at like, okay, well, sporting goods. So, they have the big shoulder pads. So I'm thinking football pads and stuff like that. But I remember you didn't want it like, I remember that it wasn't really post-apocalyptic. So then it became like, that's one of the things I'm talking about in the uniform. Like he has, there is a drawing of him with like some shoulder pads, spikes and stuff, and I felt that was too. No, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, so I should have said. I should have said too. And I thought about it way after. I should have said more like the RoboCop films. I know the comics vary, but like the RoboCop, see like RoboCop 2, and from the first RoboCop to the second, like I said, it's more of a collapsed economy, right? They're even making jokes about it. It's supposed to be a joke to you when they're just like, yeah, Old Town Detroit, suffered a problem. The city's burning and people are, raiding buildings. But I mean, the second one too, the way they raid that weapon shop, and then he just, nobody gives on that street. Everybody's in their own business and stuff. So it's like maybe not that bad, but something along those lines, more of an abandoned area like that. So I like what I'm hearing though. I love that. I'm really excited to see some of this stuff now too. Even if it's the kind of crazy shoulder pad stuff or whatever.
Do you mind lines through it?
What's that?
Like this.
What do you mean? Oh, the drawings?
Yeah.
No,
because I'm saying like on some of those, some of them I just left alone. I did crumple some, and then some I like did that where I put lines through it. Like, no, I don't like that. So I do have some of them where they're fine. So
well, for me too, I'm in the position where I'm always learning. I mean, I think you're always going to continue to learn. I've heard even the most experienced veterans say that. So I might not have thought about having the character even have that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
Then if I see you do it, I'm like, this is just amazing, right? Like, after the first couple of John Romita Supermans, I've been all over the map with liking or loving what he's done. Like when he did that one where Superman looks like he's wearing Philadelphia, hand muffs, like he's delivering mail on a bicycle, and he looks like he's got these kind of half gloves on, right? I'm like, I hated it, but I love the lines of him flying and how the lines kind of affect the costume and how he's flying, like little things like that. Like I didn't even think about, and then I saw them. So I mean, that would affect it in some way. But like I said, I'm so interested in that too. And then it's like, as I was going to say, do you ever think of it this way? A lot of what you're telling me, I kind of thought about that you might say, but then I was thinking to myself, it's sort of like an actor that goes for a role. Like apparently James Caan, he auditioned or the studio wanted him to audition for the role of Michael Corleone, which went to Al Pacino. Now this legendary role that he played, legendary actor, right? Mm-hmm. And because of that role. And they originally wanted the guy who played his brother Sonny to play that role, more established actor at that time and stuff. And it worked. And when you see the tryouts or the auditions, it works, but not the way it could. Not as brilliant as it was, right?
Right. So
like I'm thinking that same perspective, like you were saying, maybe there's shoulder pads and spikes. Like, have you given thought that maybe it'll become a villain, maybe it'll become a sidekick, right? Or maybe it'll become some other featured character. I mean, have you thought of it that way, as in like, I'm sure some of it's like, no, this is way off, right? But is that what you're looking for? Like a theme, like, hey, these three kind of fit in the same world. Maybe he'll wear this in a different scene, or maybe this will be a villain. I don't know. Like, do you see things that way? And you're like,
Kind of. It's not. I don't like when I did one of them. I actually did have a thought of like this might. I wasn't like, hey, this might make a great villain for him, but I did have one where I was like, this might make an interesting character. Like, just kind of just separate, not necessarily as a part of that world or how he relates to him, but just like, I like the design. I don't know if it's for him, but maybe somewhere down the line that could come up.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not even in this. Maybe somewhere else it could get used. Yeah. But, yeah, so it's not like I look at it and say, nope, complete. Well, I do sometimes.
Yeah.
There are some where I'm just like, nope, complete crap. I won't do it. Like, if it's...
Spider Bat again.
Those usually come up to, like the face and stuff. Where that's where... Because a lot of this is, like, self-taught.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't... Other than that little class, which we didn't... I don't even really remember the lessons on that. It was just kind of like that circle, frame, like that. That's the most we went into on that. And so, like, we didn't really do hands or anything. And so hands legitimately give me problems every now and then.
Yeah.
But faces, I think I'm okay on them, but for me, that becomes an issue. Like, it's like, no, I don't like the face. And it's fine, but then I'm just like, no, I don't like it. It's not right, or whatever. So those are the ones that, like, I have some that maybe the overall design I would have liked, but I hated the way the face came out. So I'm like, no. And those are the ones that I have, like, a lot of lines in, because it's like, get rid of this face. I don't want to look at it.
So here's my final question. Something that's on my mind. So here's my final question. Something that's on my mind here. I think this is probably controversial to say or whatever, but I think if you're more of a naturally skilled artist, which I think you are, right? I think it would be a lot easier for you to learn story structure and try to work on also writing your own material eventually, right? Because like I said, for me, I think it would be hopeless for me to draw my own stuff. Like if I took 100 years to train how to draw and how to be a correct artist, so to speak, the best I could come up with is some of those. You've seen those really bad Frank Miller doodles, right? Like some of the worst work that he's ever done. That's probably as good as I could ever get in my wildest dreams. Hey, after like 150 years of training, right?
Some of those get covered. Look at that. What was it? He put one out that I thought was awful.
Yeah. So
has Superman on it, and it was just like,
we'll try to stay away from old Frankie Miller here. But anyways, do you think to yourself too, like I said, like how you're saying, hey, this character could be for something totally different? Do you think, like I've always thought of a story like this, and maybe I don't think, maybe you don't run home, you don't write like 5 notepads worth of story, right? Or at least what you want. But does that ever happen? Do you ever become inspired, like this character could become something, and you know what, this kind of story would be cool? Like, do you ever start thinking that, or do you start thinking I should go find a writer, see what he thinks, right? Does that ever happen?
It does. I do have somewhere I'm like, well, hey, I might want to put this away for something. Not necessarily like, oh, let's get somebody. It's kind of like, yeah, maybe put this guy off to the side, and if I do ever like go more into writing and learning that stuff, maybe I could put it out there using this guy. So, yeah, there's a part that is a little more inclined to, well, maybe if I can pick this up myself, I can put that out.
Yeah.
It just kind of depends on, like, characters and stuff, like the way it comes out. There's something I think, this is pretty good. And I think a lot of it comes out to, like, depending on how much time I took into it. Mm-hmm. Like, if I took a lot of time into, like, doing one of the drawings, and it's like, it doesn't work for what I'm doing at the moment, but then I really like the overall look, and then the time put into it, then it might be like, let's put this guy to the side, and if I ever like start writing my own, pull that out at that time. But yeah, so it varies. There are times where it's like, yeah, this could work. Maybe someone should get this and send it over or whatever. But yeah, it varies.
All right, so we're going to have to catch up with the audience, but we're going to have to keep people updated on this slowly. Work on this as a little bit of a subplot. This is going to be like the subplot to Civil War. We'll keep it in the background.
It's not going to go anywhere?
Yeah, well,
the end result is going to be, okay.
Yeah, Black Panther's just going to roll up to us both and be like, you both suck. The world is not judging your horrible writing and your horrible artwork. No. Anyways, well, that's the craziest thing, but we are out of time for this episode. We'll be back next time. That sucks. Okay. So, yeah, well, listen, the clock has got us. We're up against it here. We have to end this at some point or the other. Unlike Civil War, we would try to mercifully let you go and get on with the rest of your duties. Thank you for listening.
Give me the effect. There we go. This has been the fandom's finest podcast. Oh, kill it.
And the special guest sidekick, the co-avenger, the fellow Justice Leaguer, the Scrapster.
Hey, thank you guys for listening.
Until next time. Say it again, sorry.
Hey, thank you guys for listening.
Until next time. That might work. Aunt Bay.
Aunt Bay.
We love Marissa Tomei. Aunt Bay.
Aunt Bay, Marissa Tomei. Aunt Bay, Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
Aunt
Got
Bay,
one hot Aunt Bay.
Aunt Bay, Marissa Tomei.
Wait. Remix. Marissa Tomei. Aunt Bay.
Oh, man.
I'm trying to figure here. I'm like, are my pants going to melt off before my computer screen melts off? No.
I was getting very disturbed with the whole Aunt Bay, Marissa Tomei, and then are my pants going to melt off? I was like, wait, what? So, you're thinking too much about that. Aunt Bay, man, I think my pants is going to burn off. Where's the,
Yeah, I know. 5 hours later, right?
Yeah, the audio thing for this.
Aunt Bay.